slightly down the last couple of weeks, but he set such a high bar for this man. He has always been a threat. He was best on ground when these two sides met last year. The Brisbane Lions, big winners by 85 points on that occasion. John the ground, Dermot Brereton, getting close to the start here, but Brownie, you want to take a look at two-time All-Australian for St Kilda, Jack Sinclair, who's got a pretty good record against the Brisbane Lions, but just coming off the season low, 21 disposals last week against the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, couldn't get rolling last week, Joey, except for early on. He looked really dangerous, much similar to what he's been for most of the year. He's playing as a half-back, but quite often ends up in the front half. You just look at this example from early in the game last week. So Brisbane need to be really careful about this. Watching, obviously, they use him to attack a lot, the same as Wanganeen Miller as well. But he will float forward with reckless abandon from his man. He's not too worried about him, so he's almost like another attacker. He's one that the Lions will really need to watch, and he's a driving force for St Kilda.
And it's been noticeable, both Wanganeen Miller and Sinclair getting a lot higher up the ground, getting lots of shots on goal, which has been different from past years.
Well, I wonder, the ball movement numbers haven't suggested as high from defensive 50. Is that because Wanganeen Miller and Sinclair may be playing more front half?
Well, it's chicken or the egg. They've also been winning the ball back at the front half, so maybe they're getting more looks forward of centre. But we'll get down to the boundary line to Ben Dixon.
Thank you, Joey. Good atmosphere down here at the moment, so plenty of Saints fans here as expected. All eyes are on the corridor for me. We've talked about Charlie Cameron and his supply. If they shut that down, they go around the world, there's going to be plenty of numbers in that forward line. So really looking at how they get through here. And Brisbane, as we know, number 2 in the competition, is the corridor. So a big watch in the first quarter.
Thank you, Dicko. Zach Jones, the sub for St Kilda. James Tunstall, the sub for the Brisbane Lions. Durham, final thoughts?
Yeah, well, if you look across the tail of the tape, where St Kilda are very good in their game, Brisbane are as also. It's just the other areas where St Kilda don't hold strength, Brisbane do. So St Kilda are going to have to play really, really well out of their skins, which is not beyond them. We all walked to this ground a month ago and thought they were going to be little chance against Geelong. So they're capable. They're one of those annoying teams, Lee, that are capable of upsets. They've got enough talent to do that. You want to see them put back-to-back games.
And particularly under the roof here at Marvel Stadium. St Kilda 3-3, 11th on the ladder. That might be a match-up to keep an eye on, Brownie. McCluggage has been in sensational form. Windhager can do that role.
Yeah, McCluggage's been Lions' best midfielder this season.
Dunkley and Neal in the centre bounce along with McRae. And Jack Steele underway Saturday afternoon football, Marvel Stadium. Steele straight away. See what he does best. Wins the first clearance, but only as far as Wilmot. Towards half forward, it was Day that attacked it. Sinclair, Neal flicks it out, looking for Berry. Coming the other way, Stocker. They're all sliding in, as we said, a bit of surface dew on top, so players will slide. Archie in game 150. This would be some sort of start, but Wilkie got a fist in.
Caminiti looks like he's
starting back. Yeah, there's questions where he might start forward with their lack of height down there, but he's starting back.
Yeah, but once again, he's back and picking up Hipwood. And Dougal is picking up Sam Day. That's short. Felt like he got to round 6 before he kicked that one.
Those joining us late, Jack Payne are laid out with illness. Chris Fagan told us on the flight home right now. Darcy Gardner in for his first game. It's a kick towards half forward. Advantage was going to be paid by the umpire, but he'll bring it back. We'll go the way of Darcy Wilson. He has not missed a game since his debut round 1 last year. This will be 30 straight for the teenager.
You see him inside more, Joey, do you think?
That's their plan. Once he continues to improve his contested game, they want to get him more inside. He's an elite runner. McRae also just been down the last couple of weeks. Good hit to Sinclair wide to Wood. He's got Harris Andrews. And that was a late hit. And the umpire will keep Harris Andrews on the mark.
So Wood's had a really good year too. He ended up going up into the wing last week, but he's been playing as a key forward, sort of like pseudo centre-half forward, and he's played quite well this season.
He tried to run off the mark there, and the umpire brought him back without penalty.
They've needed Wood more forward this year, while they've just been lacking a bit of height down there.
And he's still on the haunches. Wood just out of shot. Just getting up now and walking.
So you can see a crowded forward 50. So Wanganeen Miller is going to try and create something. He almost pulled off the kick for Collard, but Brisbane are able to defuse it.
Good heat.
That was good pressure. They're locking it in. St Kilda. Higgins shoveled it out. Umpire was right on the spot. Saw that it was illegal. Jack Higgins by far been St Kilda's best forward this year. Just a couple of goals Coleman leader race. And now the Brisbane Lions will use the full width of Marvel.
This is their game, isn't it? They try and build their game through uncontested marks. So obviously St Kilda are going to be onto this. They won't want to allow any momentum through the corridor.
The Saints are going to try and protect that corridor at all costs. They're going to go.
Gardner's made space.
It's going to be wide Brisbane. It's a good call. Dern got to Gardner. He now wants to get it moving. Berry just had a little fumble, which invites the pressure. Hill won a 50-50 ball.
Oh, nice step.
It was around Hipwood, and it's an aggressive kick. It was well read by Lawmont. Opens the door for the Lions. Rayner had teammates streaming past. He goes to Zorko, and his kick's poor. Caminiti could have taken an easy mark. In the end, he's put his teammates under pressure. Wilkie feels that pressure. Won't quite go out of bounds, and in the end, that's the best case result for St Kilda.
Yeah, I think it's just a young defender, isn't he? He hasn't played a hell of a lot there. He's potentially lacking some confidence, just trying to play within the V early, isn't he? Spoiled, needs to take that mark down in this clear space between them.
Probably thought, I'm going to get contact. If I go for it with two hands and try and soft hand it, if I get hit, it'll drop softly.
Caminiti be happy to have Dougal Howard back into the side. His first game of the season. Bit of experience and leadership. As Answorth kicks a high ball into the pocket. Hipwood, there's a whistle.
Really high.
And the van's going to be paid. Late whistle. This is Jack McRae. Sensational first month of the season. It's the 19 disposal against his former side.
Now his teammates are on boundary side if he comes across this way, but they're equal numbers with opponents. So yeah, plays it a little safer down the line. Short pass, albeit.
It's in the safe hands of Sinclair.
Just been seeing with some close attention from Cal Archie. I think that's a matchup. You see there, running through the middle of the shot.
Windager having easily his best season, went kicking towards Sharman. It was marked by Lester and then just got the errant fist in. Cooper Sharman.
That's an accidental knock of the ball out.
It didn't look intentional, did it?
No, but you've got to take a bit of care, especially in situations like that. We have a watch in the bottom of the screen. Oh, yeah.
Just a
Probably
loose carry from Brian Lester.
Oh, that's
always
a
help. Big pack of players. Caminiti did well that time. Clearing kick made it difficult for Sharman off the ground. Here's Neil. Retreats. And as Brisbane love to do, they'll be patient in their build-up and they'll change angles.
And they keep the ball rolling, so you're not stopping at all. So you still got to get that rolling defence with your St Kilda going.
Saints have 14 plays in the defensive 50 here, so Wilmot's going to have to take his medicine. Kick to a pack. Morris got a good run and jump at it. Just mistimed it slightly.
That style of play is still, I know it can be dangerous, but it's almost a throwback to Joe Danaher. He's the one who gets under that and is able to make the soft drop at the base of the... You can't expect Kyle Loman to mark that.
No, that's right. They do like you long to a contest in the front half.
Yep.
The Lions, they always have.
There is Archie, ripped out of his hands by Marshall. Heard the umpire's call, spectacular. It won't be a mark to Owens, but he'll take the stoppage.
That's the best non-mark of the year. Hopefully somebody gets a photo of it and in 20 years we'll forget it was touched.
McInerney clearly wins the hit, but only as far as Steele. It's his second clearance. Hill, a little fumble. Worked off at McCluggage. Rayner tried to break through the Wanganeen Miller tackle. Now Archie, busy early. Handball. And another boundary throw in. So Lions pressing early stages here.
Cal Archie in his 150th game. Not an easy one. They're giving him a matchup. So even though he's playing as a forward, he's playing on that man, Jack Sinclair. Sinclair obviously a prime mover for the St Kilda out defence. So expect that to be a close watch. Certainly early on.
He's only lightly thrown, but you want Brad Hill to stay over the ball a little stronger than that.
Dunkley wrapped up. And Cal Archie, what a story. He's pick 8, taken by the Gold Coast Suns, and then in 2019, Brisbane traded a future 2 pick for Cal, and now he's a premiership player. And gee, what a wonderful final series he had last year.
Playing in the backup role out the back here.
Wanganeen Miller did well to get a quick boot the ball, but not going anywhere at the moment. Brisbane Lions zoning territory.
You can just see here also Charlie Cameron just bringing himself up to this stoppage, trying to get himself in the game.
6 inside 50s to 1.
Just rolling with equal numbers in defence, the Lions. They're not getting an extra, whereas Brad Hill, as you see, he's just the left-hand side of the ball there.
Here is Neil. Kick towards Day. Well done from Howard. And then Stocker mops up. Burns to Caminiti. I'd love to find an uncontested mark. Here's St Kilda. It's still live. Ainsworth, Archie, Rayner. Under heat at the moment. It's been a fierce start, as we expected.
Yeah, better application by Brisbane Lions. The defensive pressure. So 8-1, the inside 50 count in favour of the Lions. But when St Kilda do win the ball back, you can see the Lions' pressure is much better than we saw last Thursday night against Collingwood.
You want your good ball users to be kicking those short passes as well, not your 6'5.5" full back.
McInerney again happy to try and clear the congestion, but didn't go too far, and another little fumble. Windhager, his handball missed the mark, so Brisbane again.
He's busy.
They'll build. Rayner, he's slowly building his form after a bit of a slow start to the season. Day just did enough to get it to McInerney. Here's a high ball. Wilkie rarely gets beaten, got it to ground. Berry thought about it, went for the handball. Caminiti may have slipped high, but just did enough. And Saints just hanging in at the moment, not conceding a score.
I reckon this is fantastic by the Saints.
Yeah.
This is tremendous pressure Brisbane are putting on, and they're standing up to it at the moment.
Marshall trying to be creative. Instead, falls to Lockie Neal, and eventually something had to give.
Yeah.
And it's their superstar. Lions on the board.
It's a bit risky, dude. Just trying to kick it out there, back towards the opposition goal. Marshall. He needs a big game. You know, he's just been struggling a bit in the last couple of weeks, but
Have a look here.
it's a miss.
He's aimed it to try and get it out to the pocket, but it's when you know you're under body contact and you haven't got the ball securely, it's a real iffy direction the ball's going to go.
Jimmy Webster had to probably just try and whack that through. Well, Webster was never going to be played that mark. Once the mistake was made with a kick in the air, you have to try and knock that through. Good by Lucky now.
So these numbers there, almost 27 disposals a game, 6 clearances, which for most midfielders in the comp they take, but for Lockie Neal just slightly down on what we're used to. And eventually got the first goal, both Ashcroft boys, you can see on screen. They started on the bench, they've now got their first action. And we'll straight into the midfield. Secondary stoppage, a lot of numbers around. Both teams bring up half forwards. Here is Will Ashcroft straight away. His handball chopped off though by Wilson. Coming the other way, Wilmot. Just went a little bit harder. And won the 40. Goal read by Max Hall. That's the turnover. Opens the door here for St Kilda. Garcia to the advantage of Keeler. Tough matchup against Harris Andrews. And then Sharman's kick. Accidental off the boot, so it'll be thrown in. So Saints get the ball down their end.
Yeah, so when he came forward, who was it? Sharman? Keeler came forward. He had to run to the pocket. He had to make that kick, get width on it. Absolutely. It's an easy kick to make if he runs to the width of the ground, not back to goals.
McInerney got it to Neal. He still was able to run to the feet of the rucks pretty easily. Clever handball from Dunkley to Fletcher. Relishing the new roll across half-back. Howard going up against the young Logan Morris.
So Wilkie's the spare defender down here for St Kilda. So just any quick kicks from Brisbane.
9-2, the inside 50 count in favour of the Lions. So St Kilda needs some territory. They'll fight really hard around their stoppages. Get some territory locked in their front half.
So Kalachi definitely trying to roll over onto Sinclair, not allowing him to sit off the back of this stoppage. One that the Lions win again, and Fletcher had a little kick to Dunkley. And now they're running Bailey, who hugs the boundary line, but couldn't get it on the outside of the boot. And Port out on the full. Excellent his first 5 weeks, Zach Bailey. Just a bit quiet last week, like a number of the Lions, Jono, against the Pies.
Yeah, inconsistent, I would say. Yeah, no doubt. And obviously against the Pies, they really lowered their colours, but inconsistent for the majority of the year. Zach Bailey's been very consistent.
Second biggest loss at home since 2019 last week against Collingwood, that 52-point margin.
Levi Ashcroft's up against Brad Hill now. He's going to do a bit of running, young Levi.
Hill's kick goes wide to a contest. Garcia, clever hands. Here is Hill. Good call. Does tuck it under the arm. Then he looks for options. He's waiting for someone to come at him. In the end, it's Sharman.
Great run, Lee. That is a great run. He kept holding the ball. He wouldn't release it until he thought something was going to produce itself to advantage, like a good lead or somebody finding a pocket of space, and he took the risk. A player like Brad Hill, the longer he holds the ball for a slight frame, the more chance he's got to get it and clobbered. And he was pretty brave then through the traffic.
Spills out wide. McRae will be first to track it. Shovel handball, he does so well to Webster. The kicking ball from Wanganeen Miller. It was always risky, and it opens the door here for the Lions. Fletcher sees grass in front of Charlie Cameron. Good luck trying to stop him. Stock is trying his hardest. He did well not to give away the free kick. Cameron still has time around the body, and he'll be disappointed to miss that, Charlie.
Great hit by Stocker. They needed that because the Lions were off to the races. Yeah, they were taking off, and Stocker did a fantastic job. That looks like the matchup for Stocker on Charlie Cameron.
And that's what I want to see. I want to see him one out there just to get some damaging space.
Here goes the St Kilda ball movement. Hasn't been strong this year from the back half, but they were able to get it to the top of the 50. But Brisbane
staying well, Wilmot.
have all the answers. Yeah, is Levi Ashcroft. Hit with 50-50. No free kick, Wilkie. One of the best one-on-one defenders in the competition. Finds Caminiti at centre-half back.
Did I read the stat during the week? He's only lost one-on-one competition in the air this year. It's a great effort.
Kick wide, picked off by Bailey. Now it's an open forward line. And again, his second kick.
It's unusual for Bailey.
He could have chewed up so much more grass ahead of him.
Yeah, we start winning some clearance, St Kilda, at least even the legend 9-3 in favour of the Lions. This is where they were beaten up badly last week, St Kilda.
Neil and McCluggage already a couple each. Second rucks do battle. Here's Rayner, another clearance for Brisbane. Loman flew. His first game back from injury, couldn't take the mark. The handball from Stocker put Wilkie under all sorts of pressure.
That is very fortunate. He's pinned an arm and he cradled the ball. He's still on his feet, so he has the option to drop it onto his boot as a kick, but he holds it in. He's bluffed the umpire there.
Almost did well to get his other arm to hold onto the footy, so it wasn't one arm free. Owens doing the second ruck work. McRae has to make sure.
That's a pack. Look around, look how many bodies in that. It's a good sign for the Saints, seeing how keen they are to get in like that.
11 tackles already. The first 10 minutes of this one, doing a lot of defending. Free kick to McRae for a hold.
Holding a lot of forwards back, Brisbane, at stoppages, which means they're trying to expose the Saints and get it in the space.
Oh, Wanganeen Miller tried to create, may have turned it over. He lost the handle. He's a little bit slippery out there, as we said, bit of surface dew or water. The roof was left open overnight. The team's just struggling to handle it clean at the moment. This time a kick towards half forward. Howard got the knee into Dunkley, and he certainly hurt Dunkley behind play. Again, another fumble. Fletcher, Hill, pulled the kick at the last moment. It's going to be a one-on-one ball. Wanganeen Miller also slipped through his fingertips. And now Brisbane will reload again. Rayner, high ball. Day, a lot Morris it was, ran under it.
That hit Jimmy in the face when it came through. It might have hit him in the shoulder. Yeah, Wanganeen Malira's hands, he's grasped a few. He's normally a safer ball handler than that.
Scratchy start, like both teams here, good pressure.
I think that's the conditions and the pressure. They've both got an accent on pressure today.
Berry went one way, Windhager the other. And again, a big pack forms.
It's what you expected. What do you expect, didn't you, Darren? You expect a response from both clubs. Their pressure was down last week. They'll beat up contest and clearance. Both coaches, obviously, they've really emphasised that during the week.
Hyman didn't take possession. Again, happy just to try and take some territory. Windhager clears the area. The contest win here. Brisbane have been owning this ball so far, and they win it again through Fletcher to Harris Andrews. And once again, they'll look to change angles. Hitwood goes back skinny side because he sees some players in the pocket. One of them was Levi Ashcroft. tried hard but couldn't get there.
Well, they went with a different avenue. 14-2, the inside 50 count in favour of the line. So the front half turnover's been very good, but they keep going back to St Kilda. So this time they change it up. They go for Levi Ashcroft. So it was actually good vision in the end, albeit a tough shot to
He took a risk then on the outward bound ball because they'd been repeat entering. Brad Hill was up outside 50 this side of the ground and Levi stayed back. He said, it's a risk, I could get hurt, but let's see how we go.
18-year-old game number 7. Hooks that one badly, just snuck through from behind.
Yeah, so that's the repeat entry. So he's taken a risk because of so many repeat entries and hasn't followed Brad Hill out when St Kilda had the ball, sat back in the pocket himself. The sneaky play. He's got some craft.
Oh,
yeah, he's got some forward nous about him.
It's now 14-2, the inside 50 count. Saints will love a bit of ball and get it down their end. Good mark from Sharman, the running Burns. And good kick to Garcia. They want to keep the ball moving. Back to Burns. Just waits, assesses, and then delivers really nicely. It was a perfect kick, but once again, Mason Wood, the slippery footy, through the hands.
And he's definitely, with that pre-game, I was speaking to Ross about it actually, and he mentioned it to me as well. He's quite slippery there, so just that surface due, surface water, wherever it maybe rained last night here in Melbourne, Joey. So that'll take some time just to clear out.
Which, to be fair, is frustrating, disappointing that under the roof here we're going to have slippery conditions. We shouldn't be getting that at all.
I think someone might off the roof, I think, Joey. We're yet to be converted. Not accusing anyone of anything, Jeremy. But
Sounds like an accusation.
how did the water get in here? Just really drink on.
An opportunity for St Kilda maybe just to own some territory in their half. Owens. Steele was set upon by a couple of lines. And now Neil looking bored. Oh, that made it hard for Big O. Yeah, just a bit clumsy.
In your endeavours to be hard and physical, you can go over the top a little bit. And as we know from last year's final series, this bloke doesn't stay down unless he's copped a real one to get here. You get a
Knee in the rib.
Yeah, up in the midriff there.
Just on the ground too, boys, in terms of slippery. Not that any of you guys upstairs ever played in the Resies to kick the Jew off, but even our pre-game, top of my boots were wet, so you're spot on, Joey. Something's happened here where the roof is open from the mark, but it's slippery.
played in the rest of the Resies. Yeah, I was 15.
And a kick wide again for Berry. They'll wheel and go. It's an open forward line. St Kilda haven't been able to get the numbers back. So he goes quickly to the milestone man, Archie. And he has no trouble with the footy. Good sticky mitts.
Yeah, well, some blokes have been grassing the ball, whether it's wet, dewy, or whatever we describe it as. That is a solid one grab take. Watch the hands here.
And talk about the wet, Jimmy Webster slipped over just in the background. It was his opponent. That's why he couldn't get there.
7 goals for the season. Now a permanent forward after the move midway through last season. And that kick goes across the face. So despite all the ball in Brisbane's forward half, they haven't been able to put the score on the board.
He played him as a forward. He's always a forward. And Gold Coast tried to play him as a defender. So played out of position for starters, Joe.
He was one of those blokes that, because he had good skills, they thought they could turn him into a ball-using, attacking defender. I tell you what, 10 points in total for 15 entries. It's not ideal.
Here's Keeler into the side today after going back to the VFL, playing some good footy.
They are controlling it though. And I think Rossi knows that they've been let off the hook a little bit here at the moment.
So it asked him, so which coach is happy or are they both unhappy? Where would the coaches be sitting right now with the way game's being played?
You'd probably want to be in Fages' seat and just know that you can tidy up your forward end.
Yeah, I'm sitting next to Fags. I think he's very unhappy.
Steele, clearance win, Burns, handball, turnover, Zorko, good sweeping handball for Will Ashcroft, goes on the left, Webster gets back, has to be careful, takes the tackle.
But he'd have to be happy with them defensively. Yeah, their application of pressure is Chris Fagan. The pressure has been much better. Locking the ball.
He's a coach.
Yeah, I know, but he's been locking forward up. That would have been their focus all week. No question about it. You can tell the lines have come in intensity.
No doubt, but he expects more of a return than this.
Archie roves the pack, steps around a couple and then couldn't spectacular.
How good was that shark? He sharked that.
The Saints at the moment, they're just sitting on the ropes. They're just popping punches, but they're hanging in there. Webster dropped the mark. Sinclair mops it up. Kick towards Ashcroft, who got a bit of a fly. Keeler lost his footing. Now it's a ball to be won. Windhager worked off it. Lester, Berry just wanted it more, got the head down. The Ashcroft boys, there's Will to Fletcher. Now Rayner into the pocket. One-on-one, Wilkie. Did just enough, and once again, we'll get a boundary throw in.
It's also hats off to the Saints too, because the forwards are playing nice and high, so they're saturating that forward half of the ground for Brisbane, so not a lot of room to work in. I know they haven't kicked straight, but great pressure.
But the Saints have to find a win, a one-on-one win around the wings, Ben, so they can retain the footy and then go forward themselves.
Steele takes possession, and it's good enough to get the handball out to Wilson. His handball sharp. Windhager had a bit of footy, but they've been all under pressure. Zorko, his handball turnover. Now might be a chance, although Brisbane had set up well behind the ball. And they'll just keep reloading.
Ryan Lester did well. He just cleared the path there.
I think you've got to have at least one representation there.
Zorko free. It's in our forward.
That's right where the kick goes. Good call, Brownie. It was a great kick from Bailey. Now the runner comes in, Rayner, who just decides to have a ping himself. It'll get right to the goal line. St Kilda defended again. This time it was the ruckman.
He go between his legs.
Bringing in Miller up to Caminiti. They have the numbers. Just got to work their way through it. Caminiti, great smother from Levi Ashcroft. Windhager. Burns. Bailey coming the other way. Pressure's been elite from Brisbane. Saints just trying to find something, but they'll have to defend again. Wilmot had a good first quarter. Neal. His kick goes wide. Archie's been the most likely. Bailey with the crumb. Along the boundary line. Lohman normally pretty special. Back to Zach Bailey. Finally, they get the goal. Some class shine, and Brisbane get their second.
So we'll talk about how good that little bit of teamwork was at the end. But when the ball comes to the wing, it's got a lot of hang time on it. Keeler allows himself to be driven off the drop of the ball by his opponent, Harris Andrews. It's an intercept mark for the Lions, and then it goes forward for this magical bit of teamwork.
Yeah, they finished. It was fantastic. So another front half turnover. This time they score a goal, they do, don't they? They've had plenty of them. 19-3, the inside 50 count. It's a massive discrepancy. It's built on the back of their contest work, number one, and their pressure's been outstanding as well. They're the same amount of tackles as St Kilda, yet they've had the ball a lot more. So I think Fags will be happy with that part of it. So obviously he wants more scoreboard pressure, but Zach Bailey's had a good start to the game apart from his kicking, but that one he straightened up beautifully.
Dominating clearance and contested ball, Brisbane. It's been living down one end of the field this first quarter. And the Saints get something going late in the term. Neal just takes territory and then charges after it himself. Caminiti first there. Got it to McRae again. The pressure's elite from Brisbane. Lohman spills to Charlie Cameron. High ball. Neal's going to let Hipwood sit under it. It was the right call. Had all the time in the world. St Kilda be disappointed they couldn't get a fist in.
Well, you saw that Caminiti came forward to defend, so that allowed Eric Hipwood to come out the back, and I think it was the St Kilda winger came in from behind and chose, whether he got there too late or elected not to fly defensively. So he's watched the chest mark. Yeah, who's that? Came in off the opposition wing.
Eric Hipwood. He's kicked 9 goals, 1 in his last 4 weeks. Pretty regulation for him, although just faded late. Good off the boot, but went to the left. 2 goals, 6 now for Brisbane.
The clearance an issue, Joey. 13-7 in favour of the Lions at the moment. Last week, against the Bulldogs, St Kilda, beaten 44-23 clearances. So it's the same issues again at the moment. They've got to sort that part of the ground out.
Bringing in Miller, his kick in would provided a contest was an important one. And now Lance Collard has slipped out the back. If he gets it, he can go. He does love to go for goal. Instead, he pokes it up into the path of Marshall. Does that sit? And the Saints go
first win they've had on the wing. Outward bound, you get your high forward who comes up to meet that ball on the wing. You have to be rabid wanting to win this. It's the first time they win it. Here it is here. Bang, spoil. Another one that goes forward to here. This is the win coming through here. Got it over the top. And you're away. You just have to have one win in there. Well played.
And it was Mason Wood with that big critical win on the wing.
It's a good year, Mason Wood. Very well shot in the Rats.
Great pick up for St Kilda. Getting better with age, one of these players that continues to impress. And that was important, just to get the Saints steadier and try and get themselves into this contest, a contest that's been dominated by Brisbane. But they only trailed by 12 points. Sinclair, a little toe poke. Rayner went low. Umpire decided to put the whistle away. And another inside 50. Hipwood, he's going to have to kick this on the right. We don't see it too often, but it's no problem.
He burst to life last 2 weeks ago, Derby, in the second half against the Bulldogs with a kick 5, played with great presence. So competing well again. Does the first thing well. The most important thing as a key forward, Derb, get the ball to ground, create the contest. He does that and tidies up nicely, which we know he's got great capability of. Nice finish on the opposite peak.
So the most dangerous key forwards are the ones who can get their own ball off the ground. Every key forward can mark it in the air. So you know you're going to get somebody who'll spoil you. If you can get it off the deck, you're really dangerous. So that's the type of play that Charlie Kerner would play, where it makes them so dangerous. Crumb your own spoils, and if you can get to it first, you're in really good shape.
Need a clearance win here, Saints.
They've got their leaders in there, McRae and Steele. It's Windhager. He's had a bit of ball. He's kicked inside 50, had to stand under it, Owens. He always does. Ball was clean. That's a clever pickup. The kick towards Higgins. Well done, Max Rule. Great bit of play.
I'm a broken record standing up for Mitchie Owens. He is so brave, that boy. Unbelievably brave. And he...
Higgins snaps around the body. Number 18 for the season. He doesn't need too many chances.
Don't know if it was... I'm not so sure it was playing on that quickly before they're all set. But he's instinctive, and that's what gives him that point of difference. He has real goal sense.
Great season. Yeah, he's had a great season. Let's
have a look at this.
Finally win that centre bounce team. You get territory, albeit a shallow entry, but great follow-up by Hall, the youngster. Finds that inside. The easy one. Take the easy one. Instead of trying to whack it on your opposite boot and you miss and give the ball back to the Lions. So now St Kilda need to follow this up. Another centre bounce win. Get your territory. So good organisation there by the Saints in there. The centre bounce, like you said, Joey, they've got senior players in there now. They need to take charge.
18 goals, 6 for the year. Jack Higgins right up there in the common medal race. 4th in the competition for goals and assists combined. Saints did win the ball, but Windhager turns it over. Rayner, who's been really good in this first quarter. Hipwood starting to dominate the forward line now.
So what we're seeing here is that you're getting Cam Rayner come off the half-forward line and impact the stoppage. So he intercepted that stoppage win. His opponent, Wanganeen Malira, is a all-user. He's not a bloke who'll run hardcore against his opponent like a Cam Rayner. Won't be strong enough in the one-on-ones and definitely allows him to enter the centre square where he intercepted there.
Hipwood for his third shot at goal in about 4 minutes. He's kicked one, he's missed one, he's now got 2. And Brisbane do start to get some reward for dominance in this first quarter.
Yeah, great intercept by Rayner. It looked like St Kilda were out of there. Another centre bounce win. However, they chop it off. Rayner gets it in there. Just watch Eric Hipwood. His movement, really good movement here by half forward. So he gets on the move, then turns. Great agility to get back, and he locates the ball. So he keeps it on time. Caminiti slips over, takes the mark, and then does the most important thing. He finishes.
I don't think Wanganeen Malira wants to see his attempted smother again either.
2 goals, 1 for Hipwood. And it's Cam Rayner's first quarter. 11 disposals, 3 clearances, 7 inside 50s.
Saints are trying to get clearance by out the back here. They're trying to get it to the right-hand side of screen. That's where they've got first hands on it.
Marshall tries to do it alone. Hall isn't as clean as his last possession, although it still might work. McRae, forward handball. Wilson has Wangan and Miller running shotgun. Again, a little fumble and then missed the mark with the handball.
One handball around Joe Berry off the wing and run back to block up the St Kilda forward line, so that's why they were reluctant to bomb it in there. He's had a big first quarter, Wangan and Miller, 11 disposals.
1 extra in the goal square for the Lion defenders, which is 60 metres to the left-hand side of your screen. Won't matter.
Brisbane happy to see out this quarter. They've really owned it, except for St Kilda taking some half chances. Stocker turned the body side on to win the ball.
He might have popped his shoulder here or collarbone. He's a solid lad, Liam Stocker. I reckon this is pretty fair. He's got him through the rib cage.
Looked to be on the shoulder. That is what Loman is holding off the ball behind the play. We will keep an eye on Kai Loman because he's yet to complete a game.
Impact.
In the 2 games he's played, he's been subbed out with an ankle. This collision, that was solid. Initial eye, it looks fair, Brownie, you feel?
Yeah. Yeah, he got to the ball on time. It was a bang-bang contest, so...
It's like running into a wombat, isn't it? He's just dense.
He's going to be okay, and it was the body, not the head.
He'll suck in the big ones. He'll have a breath. And it was a quarter that was owned by the Brisbane Lions. 24 inside 50 to 6. And at quarter time, Marvel Stadium, they lead by 18 points.
And welcome back, everyone. Game day, of course, here today. St Kilda taking on the Brisbane Lions out there at Marvel Stadium. Well, it was an absolute quarter owned by the Brisbane Lions. The first 3 quarters of this first opening quarter, it was a real arm wrestle. It was back and forth, back and forth. Both teams seemed to have reasonably good run down the wing. But, of course, Brisbane Lions then started to open up. They were always in control of this game, the Brisbane Lions. The defensive of both teams early was really, really good. There was good pressure on the forwards. Pressure was good. I should say the back's pressure was good. And it was a low score up until the final few minutes. Brisbane Lions certainly kicking a little bit wayward, but got their kicking boot on late, which was good to see. Now stemming them with 4 goals. Brisbane, St Kilda though, you know what, I think they'll be pretty happy where they are. They're only 18 points adrift. I think once they get their forward line a little bit more organised down there, they'll hit up a few more targets down there. But Brisbane Lions, I tell you what, they look dangerous every time they're going in their forward 50. And of course, Eric Hipwood getting his space and certainly performing well in that opening quarter. He looks pretty good. He looks dangerous down there for the Brisbane Lions. This could either be a game that opens up or St Kilda come back a little bit and keep that pressure going. But pressure's good from both teams in this game so far today. I just want to have a little bit of a look at the ins and outs, which we didn't get to prior to the game. Of course, there are the teams. Of course, for St Kilda, coming in today was Doug Howard and Isaac Keeler. Going out, Ari Shoemaker and Liam Henry. Zach Jones is the sub there for St Kilda's game today. For the Brisbane Lions, coming in, Darcy Gardner and Kai Loman. Going out, Sam Marshall, Jack Payne. James Tunstall is the sub. And, of course, the milestone game for today is for the Brisbane Lions. Callum Archie, 150 games. Well done to Callum Archie for his 150. Let's just look at the goal scorers so far. We've got Eric Hipwood. Well, he missed he missed one early, just grazed the post. And the other 2, he put through a snap on his right foot and then one directly in front, straight through the middle of the sticks. He's got 2 and the leading goal scorer out there, Eric Hipwood for Brisbane Lions. Lockie Neal, he snared one, the first goal scorer of the game. And, of course, Zach Bailey, the other single goal scorer for the Lions. The Saints, Rowan Marshall, Jack Higgins, the only 2 single goal scorers out there for the Sainters. Let's have a look and see who's getting the ball out there today. All right. So the opening quarter, it's Wanganeen Miller tops the table with 11 for St Kilda, 9 kicks, 2 handballs, and Cam Rayner for the Brisbane Lions, 11 disposals. Great to see Cam Rayner getting a few disposals early, because he can be slow for the Brisbane Lions, start the game slow, but he started off like a hot ball of fire. He's doing really well with 11 so far up until quarter time. 6 kicks, 5 handballs, 3 clearances. Let's just roll down quickly. Zorko in the mix, of course, with his 8 disposals. Lockie Neal also with 8, performing well. Jack McRae there for the Saints on 8, as Jack Steele with 8. Bradley Hill there, the Saints, he's given them a bit of run and dash, of course, with 7. Will Ashcroft with 6 for the Lions. Let's just roll down. Eric Hipwood, as we said, 5 disposals. He's looking pretty dangerous. He looks set for a big game today to kick certainly a bag full of goals with his 5 possessions. 4 kicks, 1 mark, 1 handball, 3 marks, a tackle, 2 goals, 1 from the big man down there. Callum Archie, the milestone man, he's just had the 5 touches. He's kicked 2 behinds. I tell you what, he nearly kicked a goal of the season there. But it was well defended there by a St Kilda player. There are your team stats for the opening quarter. Let me just roll that back up. Let's get over to the proper vision. And we'll get back down to the ground for the bounce of the ball. And we'll say g'day to everyone at halftime. Actually, I can pretty well say g'day to everyone now in the live chat. T-Name Bem, the manager's in the house. Make a love shout out. Jose, how you going? Welcome in. Judge Dredd, big bad boy. What's going on? ADG, Adrian Sports Channel. How you going, brother? Welcome. I hope everyone enjoys another big day of football. Anzac Day weekend. Make a love shout out to all. That's it. That's the way. All right, we're going to head back down to the ground. They're just about to bounce the ball for the second quarter. It's the Lions by 18. Can they extend, or can the Saints get their forward line working? We'll find out.
Probably watching that, they don't necessarily appear first up. It's had a few teammates who've had problems with sternums over the time, and they hang around. Gee, it was a solid bump, wasn't it?
Yeah, took it well, didn't he?
18 points. Yeah, they're in more control than 18 points suggests. So the Saints have been given a mini window of opportunity here.
So Ross has had a word to his troops, and he'll be looking to get a response. He's made one change. He's thrown Wanganeen Miller into the centre bounce, but again, same result, although well done from Naz to go back and take the mark.
13 disposals now.
They want to try and put a bit of speed on the ball. Hill gives it back to Wanganeen Miller. The kick wide towards Wood. Better builder. Who driving into the pocket. Sharman's in a one-on-one. Well done from Gardner. Higgins again. Oh, he's a good little player, Jack Higgins. He's got his second.
They have to win the All-Australian team at the moment.
Right now, he'd blow the whistle now, he's in.
Yeah, no question about it. Jeez, his energy's good. And so he was up involved when that play came to half forward. He turned around quickly. It's a tough match-up, actually. Gainsworth's doing it. You just
This is great
coming in the screen. Coming in the screen, the left of screen, works hard, works across, and reads the play nicely. Just creates enough separation there for his other teammates. Gets the drop beautifully.
That behind goal footage shows just how extraordinary Jack Higgins is. It would have been the easy path for him to run to an expected crumb on the centre side of that contest, but he ran for the outer side, and that's where it went. That is instinct personified.
I have to say the same to him. The forward craft there was elite from Jack Higgins, and they need it, every bit of him at the moment, because again, Brisbane will go forward to Cameron. A golden opportunity to kick the first goal of the game. He missed it. The kick to advantage. Lohman. Arm looks to be okay. Gets it to his mate in Morris. Around the body. He makes no mistake. Well, he's a class youngster.
That's a big hit around the body.
He's a classy player, the boy from Werribee. He's Western Suburbs here at Melbourne. So he plays above his height. So his height is 191 centimetres, but he plays more like a 6'5". really good in the air, but he's equally good at ground level, and he's got great goal sense.
But once again, Jonathan, what makes him dangerous is he's capable of this, leading away from goals, gathering the ball, and then getting the ball travelling back towards goals.
Well, that's a really tough kick. He flushed it.
Held goalless last week against the Pies. Logan Morris continuing to develop. No Joe Danaher this season. They've got their 5th on the board now, Brisbane. The quick reply. McInerney over the head to Neil. Well read from Wanganeen Miller. Dunkley just throws it on the boot. Hill has to go. Archie came the other way. Levi Ashcroft. Neil continued to run hard. Handball to Will Ashcroft. His kick, beautiful, pulled into the pocket to McCluggage. The class involved in that passage of play. Marcus Windhager has got the roll on McCluggage.
He's dangerous floating forward during the McCluggage, isn't he?
He reads the cue so well. He knows when to head towards goal. Just the 5 disposals so far. He won't go for it. He wanted to go to Big O, but it's Hipwood who got to the right spot over the back, and he'll line up for number 3.
Good place to lead. How often's the ball go there, Drew?
Yeah, that indicates you're really on, doesn't it? You know the ball's not aimed for you, but you're going there. It's like the gold mining days. You're just going there for the scraps. I'll go panning out the back.
They tried that at Sovereign Hill once, but
Kick 2. Already snapped one on his right today, and he flushed it. And he's got that one as well. Hipwood looks ominous today.
it's great. There's no doubt he's building his confidence. That second half against the Bulldogs, they've done wonders for his confidence, because it's a big year for him. You know, with Joe Danaher retiring, he needs to step up and be the main forward, and today he's doing that.
So you watch here, the kick's drawn by the Big O, and he just tracks it in the air, coming in now.
It wasn't a set play, was it?
No.
Because he was leading. It was a genuine lead.
It's an imperfect set play if it was.
One of the great decoy plays, that's the rule.
Just shows he's really into his game at the moment, though, isn't he?
And that was the 3rd goal from centre bounce for the Brisbane Lions. So they've already got 19 points out of the centre. They've got 25 for the whole season before this, Brandy, from centre bounce. It's been a strange one for Brisbane. Such a good centre bounce team, but haven't been able to get bang for buck. And 3 on the board from that phase of the game already, 3 of their 6.
It's setting up their territory, isn't it? So now 26-7. Last week, St Kilda was beaten by 38 with their inside 50 count.
Well, last week, Brisbane only had 37 entries for the game, and they've already got 26 to start this second quarter. Make it 28. McInerney drives it in deep. Morris flew early. And now coming to Stocker. Oh, there's Hipwood again. He is absolutely on when he's smothering balls inside his forward 50. Saints under pressure. The kick off the ground mark by Howard.
That's not a bad little play, though. A little kick off the ground. I mean, so the opposition mark it, no harm done, or you score a goal out of it.
Burns went wide to Wilson. Just trying to get a bit of control on this game. Wilson not sure what to do. Bailey was terrific on the mark, and that is the absolute signs that this team is on today.
19 tackles today. They had 27 last week for the whole game, the Lions.
The Big O's got forward.
They've had a good break, Brisbane. They're mentally switched on, and that's really fumbled. Yeah. Mark's been paid. So second block was just inside. Now Howard looks up. He doesn't have much to go to. He's going to try and work it for Sinclair. Had to run hard. That was well done. Now they generate some run through Hill. Aggressive kick into the corridor. Picked off by Neil. And that is going to be another 50 for just getting the hand in when they shouldn't. Couldn't help himself, and this will put Lachie Neale about 20 out straight in front.
Great anticipation by Neil, wasn't it? Because it looked as if that kick was going to reach Wanganeen Miller. He was on there for a split second in the centre corridor of St Kilda.
Brad Hill did take 15 metres, the full 15-metre run before he kicked, so a smart player like Lachie Neale knows it's going there, reads that ball direction.
First on ground, last time these teams met. Coming up for disposal number 10 for his second goal of the game. He makes no mistake.
Their midfield's had a good day, Derby. They lowered their colours last week against Collingwood. We're obviously in very good form, but this is the premiership midfield from last year. It's been a bit inconsistent, so Lockie Neal stands up today. Josh Dunkley, Hugh McCluggage, they've been outstanding. They've shown that real leadership, and that's given them great territory.
Well, Lockie Ashcroft, he's coming off the half-forward flank, just playing as the 7th midfielder.
Great anticipation there by Neal. It shows they're switched on.
Leave Ashcroft. So where did I get Lockie from? Will Ashcroft, I meant to say, yeah. There's too many Lockies and Wills and...
Levi's. That's already their 14th intercept in the forward half. The Brisbane Lions. Their game is well and truly back. St Kilda don't really have any answers at the moment. Steele, that's better to Marshall. Just a tumbling ball. Wood has been the most likely forward of the ball so far, along with Higgins. Zorko. Just happy to get out of there. Kick to a contest. Webster going one way. Loman the other. Take it cleanly. Hill. Had a bit of ball. Got to Wilkie. His handball a bit sharp for Sinclair. Berry. Neal. He's always clean, but happy to drive it out of bounds.
Kai Loman covered up then. He must be sore from that. You can see him, he's still running, Kai Loman, just exiting screen there with his left arm just cradled a bit, like he's just guarding against a bit of soreness here. Yeah, he's going to be sore for the rest of, a few weeks here.
They need to start winning some clearances, St Kilda. Minus 13. They are losing by again. Neal has all the time in the world to face his goals. Kick to a contest. Hall surrounded by about 4 Brisbane Lions.
Oh. Cameron's giving a bit of advice down there.
It's a good spread too. So Rayner 3 clearances, Neal 3, McCluggage 4, Dunkley 2.
And Zorko trying to get involved. Steele on hands and knees to Windhager. They just rush the kick. And Wilmot has been patrolling the half-back line all game. Disposal number 8. It's a high ball. I like getting under that one. It's all flies. Steele. Sinclair felt the pressure. Berry just a little bit careless.
This is exactly the time, though, Ross Lyon would be saying, it's real danger time. We're 5 or 6 down. This is when we really need to dig. No one-handed efforts anymore.
There's young Garcia. He's been impressive in his debut season. Harris Andrews, a big fist in.
The problem is Brisbane is setting up beautifully defensively, which the territories are enabling to do that. So he called Wilmot before. Andrews can come off his man. So really challenging for St Kilda to work their way through with long kicks, which is playing into Harris Andrews' game.
Saints have brought a couple of forwards up to this stoppage, try and crowd it. See if they can get something going. Levi Ashcroft. McRae was careful not to get in the back. Instead, he'll win the free kick.
Still a good sign, though, isn't it, that the 3 tacklers went to the one body? I know sometimes you can over-capitalise in trying to do it, but the fact that the desire's there is great.
Here's Windhager. Match up mostly on McCluggage in this game. Disposal number 10, back to Howard. Back from shoulder surgery in the summer. That kick is going to sit up for Loman.
He's going to be... I'm feeling for Kylo. Look, see how he's cradling that left arm across there? They ain't going to leave him in a hurry, though.
He's probably thinking, Dermy's played 2 games this year, been subbed out twice. He doesn't want to get subbed out for a 3rd time.
Oh, he's been injured. He kept trying to play on that ankle, so he's decided to have a few weeks off. He's not right, and he's finally right, and he hurts his shoulder.
He's not going to make the final siren, though, I'd say, today.
He's going to continue to battle. He's a tough cookie. Marshall just got put the ball. Now it opens up for St Kilda. Halls kicks to the one. Hill looks, sees it's Berry, arches the back, gets it across to Higgins. Handball. Now, Kamanides move forward. Kick inside 50 from Wilson towards Warner at the box seats.
Work hard.
That was better transition from the Saints.
Yeah, it's great. How the hell was Bradley Hill standing on his own? Like
Just held his width. Just held his width. Let his man go into the traffic, and he just held his width. Brad Hill knows he's no advantage trying to win a hard-fought ball in there.
It's a bit of ID that though, don't they?
Oh, Mason Wood has got the belly of the ball, and that's a bad miss. So we might be seeing an early sub. We'll have to get Dicko to find out whether Ross is fed up with someone or whether there's an injury.
I saw it last week at half-time when Henry was subbed out for Zach Jones.
Dicko to keep an eye on that. Burns. So a rare repeat entry for St Kilda. Sharman flew. Collard does the right thing. Kicks to the top of the square. Hall's got a couple to beat. Brisbane do well.
Holding up the big sign downstairs.
Might be the Saints player that looks over and sees your number.
Oh, it's the worst feeling.
Zorko heard the call, not 15. Bailey.
It literally is your numbers up, isn't it?
For half-time, it'll be flat there.
Did I really get it that wrong?
Especially when you're running laps after the game on your own.
Dunkley this time is out of bounds on the foot.
So, the last 90 seconds or so, there's just a tiny little swing towards the Saints. So they must capitalise on this. They've got, with this disposal, unless they decide to go laterally, they're going to get a chance to be inside their forward half and hold it in.
It still was only 28 points. As incredible as it feels watching this game. St Kilda can get the next one. Caminiti. But he was held without it.
I'm not sure.
Caminiti forward now.
I'm not sure kicking long to Harris Andrews is going to be the best strategy. So he's going to drop that mark. Is that James?
Marshall is sore, given Caminiti's pushed down now.
Keeler, he'll do the second bit of ruck work with Marshall on the bench at the moment. Wilson. Clearance ball wide for McRae. Again, the pressure from Brisbane was elite. McCluggage out and running. Pulled the kick for Hipwood. It was just a bit too low for him. Morris.
That's holding the ball umpire. He went into a turn. That's evasive action. That's trying to put a step on. So there's the 5 on the bench because Jones has got stripped.
Yeah, they're waiting for the number Dern to just run off.
Contest the ball we won. Zorko. Kick was partially smothered off the back. And another ball up, so tackle 25 for the Brisbane Lions.
Yeah, it's been a feature of the game. They've definitely responded after last week's disappointment against the Pies. They just couldn't put any pressure on whatsoever.
I reckon, boys, if I was playing bingo, 34 would be the number. You go Garcia, I reckon.
Really cool.
Keep on it. Still waiting.
Yes.
Whichever the player is, he's making sure he's not looking over at the bench.
The Grim Reaper down there, Ben Dixon. Jeez.
Now, Wanganeen Miller are leading the way, 15 disposals. Sinclair and Hill have 11 for the Saints. Zorko with 13. Rayner, Dunkley and Neal are doing a lot of damage. McCluggage starting to get busy this quarter. How will the umpires see that? And throw it in. The Saints have just evened up the contested possession count. A better quarter. And some clearances, they're still struggling. Keeler and Day. Day with his bulk, but he's straight down to McRae. He can do as good as anyone in the comp. Gets his hands free to Garcia. Kick to a wing. Caminiti was late to arrive. Wilson. Now Caminiti goes back and gets it. Gardner right there. Wilmot just goes against the flow. Ashcroft, so crafty. The handball. Again, his second handball is going to be downfield for a free kick, late contact.
So this shuffle around, Caminiti's gone forward. It means that we now have Cal Wilkie has gone to Eric Hipwood. This will see how good Hipwood's form is at the moment. He's just given a handover now to Dougal Howard, left-hand side of screen.
Levi Ashcroft, disposal 7. Goes to a dangerous spot. Top of the square, Burns. Looking for Hill. Webster went to ground. Lohman still battling on. Wilmot couldn't take it cleanly. happy again to paddle that one out of bounds.
Really challenging it. Brisbane is set up so well.
They've
Behind
given
the
the
ball, they
free.
set the wall up, and Brisbane's pressure at the contest made it really challenging for St Kilda, giving it clean exits.
He's doing a reasonable job here, Isaac Keeler, in ruck. As the relief ruckman, it's allowing Rowan Marshall valuable time to just cool off.
Will Ashcroft just went and extracted it himself. The handball now will end up with Levi Ashcroft.
Brothers waxing again.
The older brother said, I wanted it back. Pulled rank on the youngster.
See the inside 50 count on the bottom of screen. It's incredible. It's only 29 points the margin. Stocker.
But they're only +4 for this quarter. So they've pulled it back a little bit. I know they're winning the quarter 3 goals to 1. But they have pulled it back a little bit. Now Marshall's back in.
Day. Still in the ruck, and Marshall's come on fresh. Zorko's ball. High one. Hitwood. Trying to take down the pack. Here's the sub. Zach Jones couldn't pick it up cleanly. Instead, it was Bailey who poked it across the face. And Dicko, bingo! I reckon you might have had some mail, Dicko.
Oh, I don't know about the male, but bingo, 34. So he goes out of the game, and Zach Jones comes in.
Take the rest of the day off, Dicko.
Can you find out, Dicko, whether it was tactical or whether there's some sort of concern? Garcia
Ran off pretty well.
had 10 tackles last week against the Western Bulldogs. One of the more feisty midfielders, but maybe Ross has seen something he hasn't liked, and they're going to be another boundary throwing, this time at half forward for St Kilda.
He's only had one today, so...
Kai Loman's come off, whether that's a scheduled rest, but he's gone straight to the umpire as well. Zach Jones on for his first run. Not his best effort the first time he was involved, about 30 seconds ago.
I've just been informed, boys, it was tactical with Garcia.
Yeah, he ran off all right.
Day just outworked Rowan Marshall. Got some good territory on the clearance as well. Morris and Hitwood were there. Howard gets it to Webster. He'll want to straighten up on his left. Marshall's got about 3 to beat. Well done, Fletcher.
Fletcher. It's a good year just for Fletcher, so comes across nicely. Jared Berry on the other wing does the same. They're both brave in the air.
Kai Loman heading downstairs.
So Gardner gives it to Zorko. Penetrating right boot, although Bailey was outnumbered. Well read from Stocker, who left his man. And now here is St Kilda sub. Zach Jones, his first touch.
Oh, that's got to be 50 umpire.
Yeah, spot on.
Not only was he not outside 5, he was forward of the mark.
This should be pretty easy to measure. It'll go right from one end of the square to the other. An opportunity here for St Kilda. Does he look to go short, or will he kick it into the pocket? He goes towards Keeler and Sharman. And Harris Andrews.
See that? See that? There's a clean run for Harris to run and spoil that. There are 2 Saints tall players under it. One has to recognise the threat that is Harris Andrews, because he's always ever present like that, and just pretend to go for the ball but block Harris's run. Give your teammate a clean shot at the ball.
Rare forward 50 stoppage for St Kilda. Will Ashcroft had 7 disposals in 8 minutes opposed to Garcia, so maybe that might have been potentially a factor. We'll find out from Ross post-game. That's been done. Wanganeen Miller up. The kick, Marshall, another little grubber. Speaking of Will Ashcroft, there he is again.
We're going to the matchups, so you need to get back in the game, do you? So maybe Ross has thought, instead of defensive matchups in the midfield, we need to go and hunt their own ball.
Well, you do now, you're behind.
Yeah, you do. Because that's been the issue for them. They haven't been able to win the contest. The ground ball's been better this quarter, but they need to set up more territory.
He's looked much sharper than he did last week, Will Ashcroft. Disposal number 13. Hall, Wanganeen Miller up. Now spending a bit of time inside 50, outside of the boot. It could work to the advantage of Caminiti. While Sharman and Caminiti both left it for each other. There's the inexperience in the forward line again.
Little touch on the ball, Harris Andrews. Umpire still have fallen for it.
Saints been able just to stem the flow of scoring. Just been able to capitalise themselves. Jones ran himself out of room, although it stayed in play in the end, so the kick's going to be dangerous. But once again, the experience of the Lions defenders.
That's where it is. You've got to stem the flow. That's where you've got to start. And then try and get some ball in the front half and spend some time there, put some pressure on the Brisbane Lions defenders. They've just been able to set up all day behind the ball. It's been quite easy for them.
So Zorko, he wanted to be aggressive down the corridor, instead took his medicine, went short. And it's now with Neil.
But you got to chase it.
So it's team defence set up pretty well here, so they hem in Gardner. Just over 6 minutes left in this first half. They won't force anything here, Brisbane. They'll just wait for something to open up. Zach Bailey coming up for disposal number 12. Took a wonderful goal in that first quarter. And they're going to challenge St Kilda's team defence. Zorko imploring some movement up ahead instead. Short to Berry. Saints to be okay with this. I think Brisbane will be too.
Yeah, we did speak to Fags about this tonight in the corridor, so they'll just find their way through.
Umpire might have a say in it. He calls not 15.
Forced it into a hack.
Back to Ashcroft, and well done St Kilda. They do win the ball back. Sinclair pulls the kick. Wayne Miller just over the head. Well read by Fletcher. And now it can open up for the Brisbane Lions. They've got runners everywhere. One of them's Harris Andrews, who just lopes after it. He waits for it to bounce. He took a long time.
I like Liam Stocker in your side. He's not the classiest player out the ground, but he will give you just grunt and power in tackles.
And you can see the Saints running in waves from half back. Towards, he wanted the left, but he was good enough to fly Wayne Miller up.
Good point you make, too, because he had a great chase on Charlie Cameron to stop a goal in the first quarter, didn't he, Liam Stocker? So well done to him, and he's been able to set up this shot for...
That tackle then, and he's put Kyle Oman downstairs with a legitimately fair bump.
Yeah, Ross will like it the way he goes about it.
Got the 17 disposals. A few of them have been the kick-ins, but he's lining up for his first for the day. He's kicked 5 on the season. For someone so good, he'd be disappointed to miss that.
Benny Dixon, so Wanganeen Maliri's, in the last 10 minutes he'd been in the forward half. We saw him on the back flank and he allowed a few players to run free and get shots of goal. Has he moved forward now?
Yeah, just on rest, so he's just been pushed forward like the target we just saw, so not bad from Ross rather than take him off.
He did some centre bounce at the start of this quarter. Yeah. That was the change, wasn't it?
Again, the Saints team defence do well, force a boundary throw in.
Hugo comes on, straight off the bench. He'll come through this shot at the top of his screen. He'll run straight through and hopefully want to get it.
Yeah, he timed it well, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
I'll run past just when the ball's getting thrown in. You never know. It might work out. Sharman flies. Gardner, the late inclusion, hacks it out of there. Sinclair got the fist in. Brisbane have the numbers, although Hipwood's handball was awfully difficult for Oscar McAnee, and that one was even worse. And it's incredible.
That's stiff. He just missed
his teammate by a metre.
And he had form because he handballed it to the rackman a metre away. About a second earlier.
Oh, he's gone out. He's gone out. You won't bluff him now, Zaki.
That guy was giving Hipwood too much credit.
This Jones giving him a bit of life though around the contest. He's come on the last 5 minutes.
That's what he does. Jack McRae will come to the bench to finish these last 3.5 minutes. Steele did well to get it to the outside. McRae, tumbling ball. Keeler. Not sure if that was intended, but he almost put it into the path of Hill. Kick will go again.
I've got to say, you can hear the umpire say, metre apart, and then doesn't care what happens after he says it. They engage physically, the umpires, before the ball's even thrown. Just still over that rule, or what is meant to be that rule, because it's never imposed. They're already touching, still hasn't thrown it.
McInerney tried to take it cleanly, had a little fumble. Ainsworth. He's got that match up on Jack Higgins.
I think Ainsworth's kind of relieved every time Jack goes for a breather on the bench. He's dangerous, isn't he?
A lot of stoppages in this first half. Suited Brisbane. They've dominated this facet of the game. Again, they might win another one. Ainsworth to McCluggage. And that's a clever kick.
It's 9 each apiece for inside 50s now, so they've got a little bit of the wrestle the footy back here.
Zorko, it was a good kick for Berry. He dropped the chest mark. It was good enough to get it back to Zorko. And again, the kick to Dudley. Now they're away. Neil has 3 of them inside 50. Webster had to try and defend all of them. He gave it a good chance, but Morris with a strong hands.
Good, smart by Zorko. Picked the right option through the middle. Found Neil. He's had a big first half.
He's had a sider from here. It was in general play.
Yeah, it was a beautiful kick to snap earlier in the quarter. It's fantastic. He always marks the highest point term, which I love. So it makes him taller than the 191 centimetres.
Yeah, so he can mark the ball at a very high point off the ground, and he's got some agility along with ground ball ability.
Just the one kick so far today. That was that beautiful snap goal. And now he's got a beautiful set shot to go with it.
He's had a fantastic season, Logan Morris, playing a big role now along with Hipwood and Joe Dana's absence, Kalachi, Cam Rayner. So aerially they are pretty good down there, Derm.
Yeah.
They certainly as shown there, they can mark.
Kai Lohman looks like he's set to come back on as we watch this one. He identifies the loose target. Webster's been turned around, can't get there.
Neil's had 7 score involvements in this first half.
You're spot on, Dermot. So Kyle Lohman, they're just testing his sternum once again here on the interchange and the shoulders. So obviously in discomfort at the moment as well.
Kick 4 a couple of weeks ago against the Western Bulldogs. He gathered around Logan Morris. He's got 2 before half-time here. 34-point lead, game-high lead to Brisbane Lions. McRae goes out towards the wing. Well done, Sharman. Steele. Wasn't the right time to get the handball received. Mason Wood made it work. Wants to step inboard. Sinclair, normally so creative, goes to the top of the square. Hill, probably not the man you want in a one-on-one, but he does enough to bring it to ground. But Stocker, unfortunately,
They had nobody capable above their head when that ball came in.
that'll be Berry. Just go safety first, long and high. McInerney didn't even try and get the other hand up. He was just happy to get at the ground level where he knew he had the numbers. Wilmot, McCluggage work together. Hipwood.
Well positioned.
And Wilkie.
Gee, was good then.
So
Wilkie.
good.
That you could just about frame that up and say that's how you play as a backman. Taking the right position, recognising where the ball's dropping to, the dangerous spot. As a right footer comes around the boundary onto his left, it's probably going to go where Callum positioned himself.
2024 best and fairest winner, Cal Wilkie. Marshall. He tries to hack it out of there. Jones. Handball just a bit too sharp for Owens, but he goes again.
It's given him something, isn't he, around the footy?
Owens just trying to take territory, but Brisbane have got some nice balance around these contested situations. McInerney. Not sure it was intended for Neil, but he had good hands. And he wants to go open forward line, 2v2. So he kicks it up to Day and Hipwood. Hipwood better positioning, couldn't take the mark, and Webster back to save the day.
Well done, Dane Zorko.
And just sealed the exit there for Collard.
Yeah, it was good seal there. They didn't have the crumbing forwards, Brisbane, because Charlie Cameron's up around the ball now. They're just trying to get him involved in the play. So hasn't had a big start to the season, Durham.
Gee, that was well played, though. Just as good as Wilkie was this side, he was able to just cut the run of his opponent, and he became the primary target there coming out there.
So one last chance here for either team before the half. McRae, 15 disposals first half. Cameron, drop the mark. Collard. It's an open forward line except for Jared Berry, as he did in the first quarter. Puts himself behind the ball late in the term.
He rolls off that wing, the opposite side wing.
They are more than comfortable to go into the halftime break with a 34-point lead. St Kilda a bit more competitive in that second quarter, able to even up some of the clearance and contest and inside 50 numbers. But they are chasing tail right from the outset as the Brisbane Lions have come to play at Marvel. Their pressure has been fantastic. You see Chris Fagan having a chat to Kyle Oman. I'm sure he's saying he doesn't want to be subbed out for a third time, but maybe Fags just saying to him it might be the right thing. We'll find out after half-time. Zorko leading the way again, 20 disposals. And the midfielders for Brisbane, Will Ashcroft and Lockie Neal, racking up big numbers. And we'll get down to Dicko as one of those men with him.
Lockie, first quarter dominance, but didn't hit the scoreboard as much. What was the adjustment at quarter time that opened it up in the second for you?
Oh, not much. We felt like we had the game played on our terms. We probably didn't change the angles well enough, though, to give our forwards a better chance with our entry. So we wanted to try and take it off the line a little bit that quarter. I think we can still get better at that. Just keep testing their defence and taking the ball off the line when we get our uncontested marks.
You love the corridor. They had denied you, but you found a way through.
Yeah, we probably learned a bit last week. We weren't brave enough with the ball and probably didn't work hard enough as an offensive group to get the ball through the corridor. So I think we're working a little bit harder tonight.
Appreciate your time.
Cheers, thanks to go.
And Dixon there with Lockie Neal. The Brisbane Lions are in complete control here at Marvel Stadium. St Kilda have some thinking to do, but it's Brisbane leading the Saints by 34 points.
All right, half-time here at Marvel Stadium, folks. 34 points, the margin is the Lions. I tell you what, though, it was definitely a better quarter from St Kilda. They actually had the ball in their hands. They were a little bit in control in parts of that quarter. They just couldn't get the score on the board. They had their wobbly boots on, missed goals they should, which is certainly something that could come back and bite them at the end of this game. Yeah, they should have been probably 2 to 3 goals a little bit closer to the Lions than what they are, than the margin is at the moment, 34 points. Saints just putting on, as I said, a little bit wobbly boots in the second term, 1 goal, 4. The Lions putting on 4 goals too, a little bit. They had their kicking boots on that quarter. That was a lot better at scoring in that quarter. Of course, the Saints, they, as I said, they did look dangerous going down forward in parts of that quarter, but just couldn't put the score on the board. Hey, Sheila, mate, Chia, mega love, shout out. Welcome in, BKE. There we go. How you doing? Welcome in. But it should be a good second half here. I think the Lions certainly in control of this game today. I know it's half-time, 34 points. Anything can happen, but I think the Lions certainly look like they may go on for victory here. And look, anything could happen. If the Saints do get their roll and start putting their kicking boot on, it certainly could make the game a little bit more interesting, a little bit more closer. But the Saints aren't giving up in this game. They're certainly fighting this game. The Lions, well, they're seasoned players. They're working well. Their guns are certainly playing well. Just want to have a quick look at the ladder just before they start. And this is where these two teams sat on the ladder prior to today's game. Brisbane Lions, of course, sitting second on the ladder, a game off top. After playing 6, they'd won 5 and lost 1, 20. And of course, the St Kilda Saints, they're down there in 11th. They'd have played 6, they'd won 3 and 3. If we go to the live ladder now, as the game stands at the moment, St Kilda still on 12th position down there, but the Brisbane Lions will go 2 games clear of 3rd, although played an extra game and 2 to the other teams. They will go equal leaders on top of the ladder with Collingwood only by percentage. That is the live ladder, folks. All right, let's have a little bit of a quick look at the players' stats while the commentators are on break. Let's just get the top couple fantasy points played. If you play that, Dane Zorko, 74, Zach Bailey, 70. Goal scorers so far for the match. Eric Hipwood continues his merry way. He's got 3 goals, 1 now for Brisbane. He's the leading goal scorer out on the ground. Of course, Lockie Neal having a ripper of a game. He's kicked 2. Logan Morris, also 2 for the Brizzy Lions. Singles to Zach Bailey, Dane Zorko. And of course, for the Saints, Jack Higgins, the only multiple. Only 2 goal scorers for the Saints. Jack Higgins with 2. Rowan Marshall with a single. Disposal getter, as I said, Dane Zorko having a fantastic game out there today. He looks alive. He tops the table with 20. 15 kicks, 5 handballs, 5 marks, a tackle, 2 clearances. Wanganeen Miller having a good game there for the Saints. He's second on the table of disposals with 19. We'll come back to this in a moment, folks. Let's just g'day Ryan, how you going? Welcome in, brother. We'll just get back down to the commentators for a little bit of analysis, what they think on the opening half.
Controlled inside 50s, and then they've been able to get the works. And Kilda fought hard in the second term to even up some of the numbers, but they still trail by 34 points to dissect the first half. Let's get down to banjo level. Ben Dixon with Dermot Brereton and Jonathan Brown.
Thank you, Joey. Dermot, first thoughts on the half itself?
The better team, the more accomplished team is actually flexing their muscles, Jonathan. They know how they want to play. The Saints are still on the build, so they're getting it done. So with greater knowledge and some really experienced players.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Brisbane's application of the defensive side of the game was much better. So only 27 tackles last week against Collingwood. They've already had 31 in the first half. Dicko. So that's been a big turnaround. I think Chris Fagan will be really happy with that part of the game.
And I interviewed Lockie Neal just a quarter time there, so a lot going right in terms of their instructions and their execution, Dermot.
Absolutely. As Jonathan said, they needed to switch on today and do what they didn't do last week, and that is all about moving the ball, putting more pressure on the opposition when they win the ball at stoppage, and actually starting to win stoppages. So it took them a while to hit the scoreboards sincerely, Jonathan, in that first quarter. But once they did, they opened it up fairly well. Couple of fortunate little 50-metre gives they got. And this man obviously led from the front as per usual.
Yeah, they won centre bounce, scored 4 goals from centre bounce.
Well, Brandy, let's talk about the clearance and pressure, because we knew the clearance was going to be a pivotal part on who was going to get the ascendancy in this game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that set up the territory, hasn't it? Plus 18 in the first quarter, the inside 50 count. So look at the pressure factor. So 194 there by Brisbane, outstanding. A lot of that's been in the front half, which has been great. So they've obviously come with a clear focus, and they've been able to execute that, no doubt about it. And they've been able, the clearance dominance has been very good. Their mids have lifted after getting belted by the Collingwood mids last week too.
So I want to talk a little bit about maximising your opportunities, Dicko, when you come into the forward line. So watch Isaac Keeler and big Harris Andrews. Turn over here. Now watch the eyes. Harris Andrews can't even see where the ball's going. Isaac Keeler stays on the straight run. It has to be a perfect kick. What Isaac Keeler needs to do in that moment there is break either to the left-hand side of screen hard or the right. He must make it an easy kick for his teammate to make. So sometimes you've actually got to say, I don't expect the perfect pass. Make it as easy as possible for my teammate to deliver it to me. Now, he'll learn that. He'll see that during the week and work out there's one that got away.
Yeah, it's tough playing on Harris Andrews too, isn't it?
Yeah, but he was turned around. He's a great player, Harris Andrews. Yeah. But Harris was at a monstrous disadvantage there, and he was turned around. If his eyes aren't on it, he can't see where the ball's going. And Keeler actually took him to the drop of the ball. Break hard, break sideways.
Well, speaking of breaking, Kyle Oman, well, he's still here at the moment, but a big hit from Liam Stocker. That was some hit, Brownie. They checked his clavicle, they checked shoulders, AC, and even the sternum.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris Fagan just gave him a pat on the back too at half-time, and they were having a laugh about it. So, yes, he saw, but he said to Kyle, we're going to keep you going there, son. Now, whether they sub him out at half-time or not, who knows, but I just want to get some continuity into it, because early in the season he had that ankle injury, that syndesmosis, and he tried to get back, and they decided to pull him out for a few weeks, get him back in, and he gets injured in the first week. But he's playing, and he's still out there, and he's having a crack, which shows good courage.
They want to keep him going just in case they get a real injury that cannot stay out on the ground somewhere in the third quarter. You can live with that for the last 40 minutes. A whole second half, if you were to take him off now, that's not what they'd be looking at.
No, that's right. Well, Ross Lyon's got plenty to think about, but after this game on your Super Saturday, Port Adelaide looking for 3 in a row, and it's D-Day for North Melbourne. Alistair Clarkson and his players, so big eyes are Adelaide able to see this one play out. And then the tsunami hits Canberra. The Giants take on the Doggies tonight. That's going to be an absolute beauty, because it's your Super Saturday. We're here at Marvel, but there's plenty more footy to be played.
All right. While they're on a break, folks, let's get back to some of these stats that we were looking at just a moment ago. For all the good people out there interested in the stats and their players, let's go down, keep going down there. Bradley Hill up to 13 there. for the Saints. Lockie Neal, as I said, having a good game there. 14 touches, 10 kicks, 4 handballs, 4 marks, 3 clearances. He's kicked a couple, so he's very happy, and he does look really good out on the ground. Darcy Wilmot up to 12. Rowan Marshall, he drops down there. He's down only to 12. Disposals a little bit quieter in that second term. Although he's having a he's having a good job. He's having a good game, I should say, even though it's a little bit quiet in that second. 12 disposals, 8 kicks, 4 handballs, 3 tackles, 23 hitouts, 3 clearances and a goal. So far, pretty good game there from Rowan Marshall there from the Saints. Dunkley there up to 12. Cam Rayner, who started the first quarter off on a flyer. That was quiet second term from him. Just on 11 still. Hugh McCluggage, don't forget your luggage. He's up to 10 there. Let's keep on rolling down. Eric Hipwood, as I said, 3 goals, 1 from the Brisbane forward, 8 disposals. He's just had the 5 kicks, 3 handballs, but these 5 kicks, he's kicked 3 goals, 1. Get the ball in his hands, and he's likely to put a score on the board for the Lions. All right, let's keep going down. Jack Higgins there. Looks nice and lively when he's around the ball. Only the 5 disposed, 2 kicks, 2 goals. So another one for the Saints. Give him the ball, let him have a shot on goal, and he's likely to kick it. 2 kicks, 2 goals, 100% accuracy. Let's have a look at the team disposals. Well, it's only 7 the difference. Lions have been sort of in control of this game, yet only 7 the difference. So in play, reasonably even there. Just 16 kicks plus, but the Saints are handballing a little bit more, 9. Have a look at the inside 50s though, folks. The inside 50s absolutely dominating in the Brisbane Lions. 35 inside 50s up until half time. I think they were saying they only got 37 total last week inside 50s to St Kilda's 18. That is just well under. St Kilda need to lift that. They need to improve. They need to get it down their forward 50 to give their forwards a chance at scoring to get this score back on track for them. 7 scoring shots for their 18 inside 50s, the Saints, whereas the Lions, 35 inside 50 for 16 scoring shots. A lot of inside 50s. They also could do a little bit better in that aspect, the Lions going in forward. Disposal efficiency, Lions pretty good there at 73. 68 is the Saints need to lift that. Their efficiency inside 50 pretty low. They'll also be looking to lift that up a tad in the second half. The Saints 42, a little bit low still for the Lions, but it's been, look, the first quarter was definitely high pressure. The pressure's still on there, of course. In the second quarter, the defence is holding up reasonably well, but the forwards are getting a little bit more of a look at it in that second term. As I said, I think as the game goes on, I think the game's going to open up a little bit more, and we should see a little bit more scoring, free-flowing coming your way. Hitouts, Saints by 3. Clearances, the Lions winning there, 18 to 30 by 12. Centre clearances, the Lions mids are doing their job there, 7 to 3. As the stoppage clearances, 23-14. Contested possessions, uncontested, both teams reasonably even there, nothing much in that there. Turnovers as normal, 31-33, and the marks. Brisbane just getting the better of that, as I said. Brisbane certainly were a lot better in finding their targets, especially in that opening term, finding 7 to 3 marks inside 50. There we go. Let's just have a look at the tackle count. Both teams, probably a little bit low on the tackle count for St Kilda, 27-33. Tackles inside 50, nice on both, 5 to 8, both on season average. Lions going a little bit over the season average there. There we go, but we're going to just come back here to say g'day to Ryan, who came in the chat. Welcome in, Ryan. Good to have you here, young man. Good to have you here. Hope you're having a good day. A nice Saturday here. Of course, down here in Melbourne, it's 17 degrees in Melbourne. Just peeking out the window now, there's a bit of blue sky, bit of cloud, but of course this game's being played under the closed roof of Marvel Stadium here in Melbourne, down in the Docklands. It should be a great game. Crowd loving what they're seeing so far, but of course most of the Brisbane Lions fans are certainly happy at the moment. The St Kilda fans, well, they'll be looking to press a little bit more in this second term. They'll be looking for a little bit more out of their players, their forwards. They just want to see goals kicked. It's always a little bit hard. When your team's only kicked 3 goals up until half time, you're just thinking, are the goals going to come? Let's just get a couple more. Come on, put a bit more pressure on the opposition. And that's what they'll be looking forward to doing this quarter. I'm sure Ross Lyon, the St Kilda coach, will be in there. He'll be giving them a good talk to. He'll probably correct a few things for them to do coming out into this third term. And I'm sure they'll get some of those aspects of their game a little bit more stable, a little bit more right. We should have a game on our hands. Let's hope the Saints come back in this second term. As we always say, folks, a close game is a good game, and that's what we love to see. We'd like to see it go down to the wire. Maybe this game will. You just never know what can happen. All right, let's take it back down to the commentators. While they're there, we're only 3.5 minutes out from the third term.
Coming right up.
All right, so they're off on break. All right, folks, we'll be back in just a moment with the third term.
doesn't tell the story. He's the 46th ranked player on the ground. No tackles, a lot of turnovers. How you seen his first half?
Yeah, pretty disappointing. You want more out of him in pretty well every facet. And even when it's his turn to actually hover over the ball, take some punishment, do it for your team.
Oh, he's almost their best player, and he's starting in the centre bounce. So Ross Lyon will be asking for a lift from him along with his leaders, because Brisbane have bought the heat in this first half. A pressure rating of 194 down to 169 for St Kilda. It's been led by McCluggage and Dunkley in that facet of the game. St Kilda win a clearance. That's a rarity in the first half. Higgins threw Ainsworth out the way.
So that's a big win.
Unselfishly decides to give it up to Hill. Here is Wanganeen Miller. Can he use the ball better this time? That's better. Now that's the fire starter that Ross Lyon was after.
That's what he can do. A massive, massive win by Jack Higgins. So as I said, at this point, size and shape dictates what your role generally is, but sometimes you're asked to do some other things. Messiah Wanganeen doesn't do the other things all that much or all that well, but what he can do is finish. He hasn't been finishing in the first half. This is pure. This is just beautiful. The little sidestep, buys himself a little angle. Wow.
A wake-up call for the Brisbane midfield, though. They need to watch a player like that. He's so dangerous, even though, as you said, Joey, he wasn't punishing in the first half. You've still got to watch a player of that quality.
They were looking for the response, and he couldn't have started any better. Saints fans will be hoping there's more where that came from. They win another centre clearance, but Zorko streaming off half-back, the kick wide. Morris beats Howard to the footy, trying to flick it over the top to Charlie Cameron. Burns missed his man, Bailey. Got it to Cameron this time. They're just flicking it around by hand here at the moment, Brisbane. Saints do well, and they look like they've got some energy to start the quarter. Although Owens dropped the mark he'd usually swallow. The kick's good though to Sharman.
Equal numbers ahead, but they're going quick. Move it on.
The kick is going to favour Mason Wood, who dropped a few marks in the first half. He takes that.
A lot of space. He's got a one-on-one with Higo, who's been winning those.
He's going to decide to go alone. He goes himself right to the goal line. Mason Wood goes bang. And the Saints have got two early ones to start the third quarter.
Well, if you've got it in the kick, though, use it then. Instead of going to a 50-50 contest, back himself in. He's had a good season, Mason Wood.
Now, Higo dragged the last line defenders on the lead with him.
Yeah, and selfish. He did, he just cleared that space, didn't it? So it became an option for Mason Wood. He summed it up nicely. He was dropping those in the first half, like you said, Joey. Yeah, that came across nice.
Beautiful curve back. All right, back to Cam Rayner. Lockie Neal to get to work here. They've been done 2 times in a row here.
He had a quiet second quarter. He was probably best on around a quarter time. He needs to get involved now.
All of a sudden, Saints have a bit of energy. Wanganeen Miller, the centre clearance. Did enough to poke it towards centre half forward. Big contest here. Sharman got it back to McRae. He went for Hill, just overshot the kick. He's frustrated himself. But a good positive start again for St Kilda.
So Cooper Sharman on Darcy Gardner. Cooper Sharman just showed a little bit more sideways movement to out-position Darcy Gardner.
McInerney couldn't get boot the ball. Neal. And there is Wanganeen Miller, his first tackle.
You know, Ross, he's put the heat on him at half. You're nodding furiously. Yeah, he's put the heat on him. This is a great response from the side.
McCluggage just gets boot the ball. Howard. And the arm over the shoulder, could have been a free kick. Another contested possession. Steele got it back to Windhager. Here's Hall. He's been clean. Owens heard the voice. Wilson steps around, gets to 40, goes and pushes it across the face.
They're attacking relentlessly now.
Instead of clearance through zip, and then they're getting into their 450 down and they're locking it in, aren't they? With no pressure. So it's something we didn't see, especially in the first quarter.
10 to 4 contested possessions, and then the kick from Zorko was perfect. Saints fans thought that was going to go out of bounds.
Was that perfect? Yeah, they started cheering throughout the full.
Zorko, already his 4th disposal of the quarter. Always uses it well. Brisbane just being patient, and that McCluggage kick was beautiful to Charlie Cameron.
Yeah, it was. It was a beautiful kick. McCluggage sums it up nicely going inside 50. Just a weighted kick. Wilkie tried to come back and just with his swinging arm, but he didn't have eyes on the ball. Charlie still just trying to get himself into the game. He went up around the midfield late in the second quarter. This will do wonders for his confidence over and kick this.
They're still looking for his first goal in 3 weeks. Only once in his career has he gone through 3 games in a row without a goal. He missed one at the very start of the game, and he's missed his second.
And we watched him before the game. He pulled every kick to the left. And what did he do then? To the left.
Keep going, Liam, straight out.
So he's coming out of the kick and the left shoulder pulls away from the target.
Follow him.
Sinclair. Shake Calamarchi, who's had that defensive forward matchup
Again.
for the game, and they're going to get it back to Sinclair. Generally, good things happen when he gets the ball. Stocker sees Hill in a ton of space out wide. The ground has dried up now after that surface water played the first quarter and a half. Marshall got it over to Owens, who can give it in ball to Wangan Miller. Used him as a decoy, went himself. Wood'll get a run and jump. It was a good launch, but he couldn't bring it down. And then Wilson, strong tackle.
He's such an old-fashioned defender, Gardner, isn't he? He just seeks the comfort of the boundary line every time. He could be playing in the... I know he's playing forward in the Magoos, but he could be playing in the 1970s. He goes for it now.
Old-fashioned, absolutely.
Yeah, and he's a ripper too.
Another opportunity for St Kilda. Bailey sitting off the back of the contest, did it nicely. They feed back to Gardner, doesn't clear the area. Neil, always so cool and composed and classy.
Here's ball handling.
Look at that. Got them out of trouble, no problem. The kick to a one-on-one.
Round the shot.
That's a rare loss for Cal Wilkie. That's Hicklin right in the centre circle. Morris Neal was his free kick. He just kept running. He saw it open for 50. He went downhill, and he'll line up for goal number 3.
I'm with the St Kilda fans from where we're standing.
Yeah.
As if
There's one each way.
Wilkie around the shoulder, so
have a look at him in the
should
small box.
play on.
Yeah, the umpire said the umpire this side in the box
That's
there.
right, umpire, wasn't it? If he's on our side, Derm, I think Wilkie gets that free kick.
Well, kick him when you're up, kick him when you're down, kick him all the time. You get a freebie like that.
Still been the main target inside 50 today. He's had 2 kicks for 2 goals. Now 3 kicks for 2 goals, 1.
Oh, it's 2 balls in play.
A couple of misses that usually make the Brisbane Lions. Maybe just feeling a little bit of pressure from St Kilda start to the quarter.
Outside 5.
Here's Ryan Burns. Had a bit of footy.
Play on.
Well, you've got the runners out this side now, Brad Hill. You've got to go, Hilly.
Good fisting from Levi Ashcroft. Kept up with him that time.
Really expensive St Kilda, aren't they? Just try and challenge Brisbane's defensive setup. Make them chase. Good effort there by Ashcroft.
Yeah, Brad Hill's never really been a take it in the hands out the front type player. He's running pretty hard as per usual, though. It's a good education for Ashcroft Jr. as well.
Zorko in there scheming.
And all the Brisbane mids, they all congregate around one another. That was Will Ashcroft who got first hands, but Dunkley gets the clearance. Kick into the pocket. He takes it out of bounds.
Oscar, right.
So the Lions were so good in the first quarter at this end. Just repeat inside 50s.
It's 34 points at half-time. St Kilda, only 2 goals at this quarter. Into 23. They have to defend here. Wilson had a couple of goes at taking it. Webster as well. Brisbane are hunting. Sinclair, Steele, McRae. They all give it up, but it might work. Jones, Wilkie. Good chain of handballs by St Kilda. And it's now with Hall. Off a standing start, we'll go to a 2v2. Keeler and Caminiti against the experience of Gardner and Andrews, and the experience wins out to the most experienced of them all, Zorko, with a beautiful dummy, and the kicking board was brilliant to open it up for Will Ashcroft, who tumbles one to the top of the square. Day doing the crumbing. A handball picked off by Jones, who looks up, sees nothing really to go to. They go short and wide, and they do it nicely to Wilson.
Certainly provided some composure since he's been on, Jones.
Now St Kilda's forwards are able to reset, so Wilson will take some territory to a contest. Marshall. Get a free kick from the outer zone up high for high contact.
Is Sammy Hamill the forwards coach down there? Just the forwards just didn't work for each other right out on this wing. And they actually had them outnumbered.
Sammy's still a coach.
Oh, yeah, he used to, yeah.
Now Brendan Bottom's come across to the Saints. There's now Will Ashcroft looking for Day. Full stretch, took the mark. At his best, he'd have the journey, Brownie.
Yeah, right on it. Right on it. Could have maybe given that handball to Fletcher or to Zorko. Just saw them too late.
Of course, had to wait 5 weeks for his first goal in Lions colours last week against Collingwood. Just provided a presence really down there in this forward line. There's so many avenues to goal. And great support for Hipwood and Morris. 55. It's come off the side of the boot. Won't get the journey anyway. Morris almost made it work. That's a good fist.
Yeah, good result for the Lions. So the ball, he obviously miskicked it a little bit, but they get this forward 50 stoppage. We'll show some composure though, St Kilda, just here that their backs against the wall the last few minutes there.
Zach Jones once again, he plays loose, so there he is, number 3, just moving to the front of the stoppage.
McInerney tried to make a path for his midfield. Paul. Ainsworth. Ashcroft, that's Levi, a little fumble, back to Gardner. And again, they'll send it in towards McInerney, got hands to it. There is Jones. Webster. Brisbane still hunting in numbers. They're desperate to lock the ball in. And again, another ball up, which I've seen a lot of.
Yeah, they're desperate to lock that ball in St Kilda, because if that spills out to 15, 20 metres out, Brisbane players are just lining up, waiting for the ball in the corridor.
When they're at their best, Brisbane, they just build the pressure. Steele. His kick doesn't really clear the area. Brisbane will went back through Dunkley, Ashcroft, and now Gardner again. The exact same kick. They'll fly again, McInerney. Collard, the forward pocket, has to come all the way up to help out his defence. And now they can get a bit of run here. Higgins and Owens are forward of the ball. Wilson, that was a great kick to space. The only one that could get there was Mitch Owens, who was going to give the handball, eventually does. Higgins continues to run on. Couldn't quite, but he's going to get it. And snap, another goal. St Kilda are coming. Higgins has another one. He's got 3.
Great finish. And Zach Jones, take a bow. Every time the ball's gone into defence, he hasn't been, we're under heat, we're under extreme pressure, hang it onto your boot, just hack it forward. He's actually said, no, I'll take the risk of being tackled and dumped and get the best option. Watch him here. Talk us through it, Jonathan.
Well, they handball it, like you said, Jeremy, they showed composure there. They had to handball their way through. They couldn't kick it because Brisbane had lined up. They'd set up a wall defensively, so they used their numbers, and then they got out the back.
And the hard part for that, you can see Fletcher doesn't get there on Higgins, and he does, and then Higgins obviously finishes his work. But he was the spare in that transition, and he didn't retreat, and Higgins literally went past him like he was standing still.
He's now up to 20 goals, Jack Higgins, equal leader in the Coleman medal race. What a wonderful season he has had, and he has led from the front today. And Brownie, you spoke about St Kilda's ball movement, all 3 goals this quarter from the defensive half.
Yeah, it's been important. They've shown composure, and they've used their hands when they can.
They're playing with some dare.
So Zach Jones has given them that composure at ground level, especially inside defensive 50. He's just changed the way that they're bringing the ball out.
More handballs than kicks this quarter by St Kilda, 30 and 33 handballs.
Steele getting the work. Can't get it out. Dunkley sits on top. Three goals at quarter from St Kilda. For trailing by 34 at the half. Got it to within 17, a manageable 17, and they're playing a much better brand. Wanganeen Miller, he was the fire starter. Couldn't break free. The Ashcroft boys are there. Free kick was going to Levi, but Dunkley took the advantage. And now Brisbane have a bit of room to move.
Well, they're out. If Hipple can swing on the left foot here, Brisbane are right.
It's Morris again, who's run really hard. Terrific courage. Once again, dude, from your man, Liam Stocker.
Look at him, he's hurt. He says, no, throw everything you got at me, I don't care. He's a barrel, isn't he?
He saved some goals today.
Oh, my word.
His efforts.
Look at this. Yeah, he cops a hit between the shoulder blades. Some blokes are just handles, aren't they? They're just built to be punished, and it doesn't bother them.
The Lions again inside 50. Day. Levi Ashcroft. Goes and gets it again. McCluggage. Normally clever. Draws the man. Dunkley from a standing start from 48. Across the face, and Wilkie happy to see it through.
That's enough pressure.
He knows the rules. Although he was a bit quick to play on.
Yeah, it's worth the risk. You can get away. Exit the scene of the crime. More numbers out this side now.
Summed it up, Wilkie. So did come this broadcast side, and now Wanganeen Miller up.
One extra down the line for the Lions now with Dunkley, his opponent. Hasn't made his way down there.
Brisbane roll numbers across, but still might work out for Caminiti, but there's the fist again of the co-captain, Harris Andrews.
Actually like look at Reed Hogan. Let's look at the head clash. Yeah, it's on Levi, on Fletcher and Wood.
Hurt himself as well on Wood.
Of course, remember he had that sickening concussion a few years ago.
Yes,
Mason Wood
on the other half-forward flank, yeah.
It looks to be okay. Keeler doing some more ruck work with Marshall having a spell on the bench.
I'm not sure how long they're going to persist with Kyle Layman. It looks like he's trying to carry the paper under his left arm and he's not going to drop it. He can't move it. And I don't think he's going to make the distance there, Dern.
Owens comes barging through the contest. Ball. Neil. Under pressure. Rare for Neil. Not turned into an effective clearance. Stocker just took his eyes off it momentarily. Jones. Wide to Wood. Well done from Levi Ashcroft. The two that clashed heads a moment ago. Involved in a contest. Saints have the numbers. Wilkie. And now Sinclair to Windhager.
Jones has been big since the second quarter.
If he turns, he has Steele in a bit of space. That's exactly what he does. He dropped the mark. Morris applied the pressure. Morris might do really well. He just fell into the back. It was a great effort from the youngster.
He made it hard for himself, Jack Steele, didn't he? Well, there's room for a lead up here.
You can see what Hill's got in front of him. No one does lead up, so he kicks it to the pack. Oh, Collard! It went early.
Yeah, I like what they did there in St Kilda forwards. They just back, so really, working hard, working well together, creating that space out in front.
Inside 50 stoppage. Miller got hands to it. Day continuing to ruck, clearing kick. And
oh, look at that, Jay. He actually marked it on the chest because he didn't want to extend his left arm.
Couldn't even extend it. Kyle Oman, a tough start to the year this young man has had after 36 goals last season, 4 in the grand final. It's been a rough run. But he's sticking it out on Berry. Wants to get it moving. Neil. Good pressure from Jones. Howard has to be clean. McInerney did well to lock it up.
Yeah, so Kai's probably hurt his AC turn, and they probably
well, they said Stern, right?
Stern there, it's interesting. He's got to strapped up that left shoulder.
Mitch Owens having a run up around the footy. Will Ashcroft to his mate in Fletcher, but
Not so sure that was fully over the outside of the line.
They do keep their boys running though at Brisbane. It's one of the philosophies.
Yeah.
Derm, they keep them training, they keep them playing if they can.
Rowan, Oscar.
So,
Well, they're certainly doing that.
Showing great resilience.
Have a look at this.
Oh, I'm not sure the whole ball's out. I'm in line with that, boys.
Not much you are in line with, Ben, but one yes.
there's Owens again. Well done from Rayner. Got the smother in. Ashcroft went off the ground. Wilkie tried to shrug the tackle, did well. Hill has to make a contest. Berry was too strong.
That's 2 contests now. Berry's had him on the wing, so looks like they're just a little bit wary of Brad Hill getting to the outside. So Berry goes to be the troubleshooter.
Goes with a 3-quarter kick. McInerney brings it down with the one hand. It was kicked amongst a pack of players, and the tallest man there brings it down.
Yeah, it's been a good battle between him and Rail Marshall. Both players loved their colours last week. Marshall's been better today, but that was a great mark by McInerney.
He's the only one who touched this.
But he's good as a forward, even though he doesn't play there much. When he has spent time down there, he's really good, and he's a good set shot at goal.
He's a very mechanical, let's say, ugly style, but it is really, really accurate.
It's an important moment. They've missed a couple of set shots this quarter. Just to get the steadier.
Oh, put it
He
in.
got up and under it. And that's a bad miss. So
It's a couple of cities.
0-4 this quarter. A lot of them have been gettable.
Jeez, he's kicked that up the chimney.
Still 19 points. 3 goals to zip quarter. St Kilda. The pluggage, clean. The pickup was great. The trap from Bailey was good. The sidestep and fend off. This could be some sort of goal. This could be some sort of point. That would have been brilliant.
We saw some unbelievable goals in the grand final against Collingwood 2 years ago. Really recreated that moment.
Did you see his facial expression when he missed it? He thought he was having so much fun.
That good as the bounce.
He's got that in the kick bag. Zach Bailey, as Brandy said, we've seen it before. To be honest, they needed a goal. They just need one to put a bit of a gap in this margin that's just hanging around.
Let's see if we hold long enough to see him have a laugh.
Lovely challenge getting up into the stoppages in the second half. 5 disposed this quarter. They got Belter in contested footy, especially that first quarter. But Owens up around the ball. You can just see there.
There's a strong body around the forward side of the pack.
He's the grunt man, isn't he? Neil. Ashcroft. The class to Fletcher. The kick. Loman couldn't go with the left, but it still might work out. Finally, they get the goal, and it's the veteran in Dave that steadies and kicks truly.
We would have marked Kyle Loman. He couldn't get his hand up.
Oh, every other day he marks that. Yeah.
It's the Bunnings build up here. Sam Davey wrapped with that, as I said, second. Just taking a while to find his feet. Come across really as the Joe down there, a replacement from the Suns, or come up the highway. So they transitioned beautifully out of clearance, and this Bunnings build up was fantastic. Get it over the top. Fletcher's had a good game too. So we expanded to the open side.
10 seconds, guys.
Day gets his first. It was the stoppage win from Neil to Ashcroft that set it up.
I reckon Kai might say, oh, look, I'll count that as an assist, and that might do me.
Actually, it worked in their favour, didn't it? And he couldn't get his left arm up over his head.
That was enough of an indicator finally, isn't it?
And they get that buffer they were searching for. Back out to 26 points. So Steele head in the hole, taken high.
I'm staggered he hasn't been subbed out yet.
I reckon he'll be saying to him, I might be just about done by now, surely, boss.
Steele's kick inside 50 was pretty ordinary. Wilmot to it. Ashcroft wrapped up from McRae. Everyone looked at the umpire and he just put the whistle away.
Yeah, but no arms were pinned and he kept handballing it onto his own chest.
And again, they're forward the ball here, Brisbane. Hitwood sees Neil. It worked hard into a pocket of space.
Yeah, he did. As soon as he saw that non-free kick, he was off the races. He took off forward as hard as he could.
Dude,
Everybody tries to do their best, but that is such an easy free kick to see. Oh, there you go.
There he is.
He said that's enough, boss.
He's finally succumbed. He's been subbed out for the third time in 3 games with injury. So we wish him well, yeah. Lockie Neal will run out as he got the leg. Look at that from Lockie. He's kicked 3 and he's winding back the clock.
Outstanding. 10 scoring goals. Go with those 3 goals, Derby. He's been outstanding all day. He hasn't been a huge clearance day. He's only had the 3 clearances, but all round he's really got to work there. Along with the other midfielders, defensively, I reckon that's been the starting point today. So no free kick call there. Everyone stopped except for Lockie Neal. As you saw, he was the first one to react and get forward to the ball and go back and kick a beautiful goal after a poor kicking display so far in this third quarter, especially goal for the Lions.
Lockie Neal has a pretty good record against St Kilda. He polled the 3 Brownlow votes round 21 last season.
Come on, Lee, he's got a good record against everyone.
That is true. That is true.
He's some sort of player. Let's hope Kyle Loma gets a real good run at it.
I think he's actually a happy man, Kyle. He's painful watching him.
A kick inside 50 from St Kilda. Standing tall, Gardner, awaiting inclusion, not paid. Berry. He's wide. There is the sub now for the Brisbane Lions. Tunstall. Wilmot. Started well, and he wants to run and dash. The composure to go towards Day, just over his head, well done from Wilkie. And now Owens, as Brandy said, spending a bit more time in the midfield this quarter. Wanganeen Miller wants to cut back into the corridor, and that is class to find the hard-running Hall.
And Hill's run on. He hasn't seen him yet. No, he's going to... Paul's just going to say, no, my goal. Good on that beautiful step once again, just the balance of Wanganeen Malira.
Owens, Wanganeen Malira, 3 younger fellas. They've had really good quarters. They've helped them get back into the game. They'll certainly be a lot better on the scoreboard.
It's a great man who steps Charlie as well. He's got some pace still, hasn't he?
6 goals, 5 for the season for Maxwell. Mature age recruit. Another one in his debut season.
He's under it a bit.
He did get under it, but it didn't matter. He's got it. That's a nice finish. Saints get 4 for the turn.
There you go. That's been the difference this quarter is the goal kicking. So 4 goals, 1 to St Kilda. Brisbane's kicked 2 goals, 5. Apart from Lockie Neal's set shot moments ago. So well done. They've taken their opportunities. It's good to see. Just a bit more dynamic through the midfield there. Wanganeen Miller's gone in there. Zach Jones has been good. I think Owens' bigger body around the ball has helped them. Giving them some opportunities. The territory's been much better.
And just an injury concern down here for St Kilda at the moment. So we saw a little earlier that Mason Wood had a head clash with Ashcroft. He went down underneath, was assessed by the doctor, and now he's been ruled out. So the Saints down to 3 on the interchange.
Thanks, Dicko. Yeah, that's a blow.
Yeah, they need
experience and class of Mason Wood, so they'll be down 1 on the bench, St Kilda. Jack Steele's court has been excellent as well. He's had 16 contested possessions, the most he's had already for the season today. Will Ashcroft, the kick wide to McCluggage. Started at half forward. Hitwood wants it long. He wants to go short. Cameron thought he had the arm hold from Stocker.
It looked like it. It was good though. Just didn't hurt him enough, didn't he, Stocker? Otherwise, it was going to be an easy mark.
I feel a big final 2 minutes either way this quarter. And that's going to hurt if it goes the way of Oscar McInerney. Rowan Marshall pleading his case, but it's not going to lead to anything. And McInerney gets another chance to kick truly after missing one from much closer than this a few minutes ago. McInerney will take a deep breath, see if he learns from the miss a couple of moments ago. Can kick through this one a bit freer. gets the curl and shape and gets it straight over the goal umpire's head. And for all the Saints' hard work during this quarter, they've only won it by 2 points. Brisbane, like a good team, have just steadied and responded.
Yeah, he's a good player, isn't he? He just bodied, got the front position in that front contest, and all he has to do is make sure that he gets back to the ball. See, the umpire should be saying break contact there. So he walks him away from it, and he gets back to it. So it's a legitimate body usage. It's a light, flimsy free kick. Very light, flimsy free kick, but if the umpire wants to be pedantic about it, it is there to the rules of the game. Good kick, though.
He struck that one much better. Big O.
Brad Hill is really interesting this quarter. We'll talk about him after this bounce.
And again, McInerney tries to surge it forward. Archie was good. Ashcroft been really busy this quarter. 10 disposals for the term. And another free kick. It's time for Sam Day against Dougal Howard.
Actually had a pretty good run this quarter. The free kicks. Can he go back there? They've kicked two. After having a poor start of the quarter goal kicking wise, they've actually kicked their two hardest shots. Locking here from close to 50 and
he had a shot earlier and he gave it an absolute ride, but he sprayed it across the face. Gets it online, he'll have this distance covered.
Kicked one earlier this quarter, Sam Day, after everyone else was missing. He was the one. Now from 52 again, goes across the face, and again the same result.
Yeah. So Brad Hill's a real interesting one. He started off this quarter very, very well on this wing. And Brisbane sent Jared Berry to him, so Hilly goes, swaps with Darcy Wilson. He says, I'll take the other wing, goes over there, and then they swap him over again. They chase him to the other wing with the tagger, and then he moves himself to half-forward flank. He moves everywhere. He's not going to get a run-with player.
Review underway.
Goal umpire just wants to check whether this crossed the goal line before it hit the behind post.
Review complete. Looking at these angles, we can see the ball does not cross the back of the goal line and then hits the behind post. Decision on scoreboard.
And a good result for the Brisbane Lions. They've already kicked 3 goals from forward 50 stoppages. And I'll get a chance here.
Stay separated.
Just organise the block here for Archie if they can get it.
Neil shaping as if he wants to block as well. It's Steele on him. It's Bailey that's going to wrap around. It almost got to him, but well read by Sinclair.
Bailey's the dangerous one there. So coming through, he was unchecked there, Joey. You have to watch him closely, whoever his direct opponent is.
Archie tries to create a bit of a path. McInerney. Clean. One-handed pick-up and handball. Jones.
So Zach Jones has gone a touch quiet in the last 7 or 8 minutes, so the Saints have been unable to exit defensive 50 without his input.
Bailey still lurking. And he's going to get a free kick. He was on the move. And he's been legged.
Yeah, he's the dangerous one in around those 450 stoppages. He's very dynamic. Go from 0 to 100 in a short space of time.
He just travels so quickly in those inside those congested areas. He forces an action from the opposition.
Hard to tackle, too.
So the replay, it was Stocker's leg that was just planted.
Yeah, was he planted though? He didn't throw it out. He was just planted.
Pretty tough run this quarter.
Yeah. 50-50 calls have gone Brisbane's way. They've made their own luck, really.
There's a home crowd influence on the umpires, Joey.
1 goal, 2 today. Could have kicked one of the goals of the year earlier in the quarter. He's got his second now, and he's put in another strong performance.
Well, lucky one there, but he goes back and kicks it. So he's been dangerous. Could have had a bigger day, actually, Zach Bailey. Big numbers, 9 disposals, 2 goals, 2. Could have had goal of the year early in this quarter. Just comes through there. So Liam Stocker.
So, yeah, look, Stocker, he is spreading that legs apart position before Zach Bailey gets to it. What he does do is braces for contact, and the umpire perhaps sees that and thinks that is the deliberate part of a trip.
Well,
You've got every right to protect yourself. It's not basketball. You don't have to keep your feet within your shoulder width.
All of a sudden, it's now a game-high 38 points.
Oh, great tackle.
Brisbane have responded beautifully to the Saints flurry to start this quarter. Jones to steal. Time might beat them unless Owens can take the mark. He can't. And the defending champs, they weathered the storm in that third quarter and they hit back hard late. And they go into the three-quarter time break with a comfortable 38-point lead.
All right, there we go. Three-quarter time here, folks, and it is the Lions by 38 points. I tell you what, the Saints looked like they were coming back into the match there. They got to within about 18 points of the Lions. But the Lions' seniority, their experience certainly got them back in the game. Mind you, a couple of the umpires' calls didn't go astray, helping them get back into the game as well, probably 3 goals in that quarter. But the Saints, they put on 4 goals, 1 in that third term. And the Lions hitting back late, putting on 4 goals, 5. There we go. So the Lions winning that quarter. Tell you what, the Saints threw everything there at the Lions. They're still in with the fight. They're still giving it all they've got. 38 points. I mean, it's going to be a tough ask for the Saints to get back from here. And I think that's the way the vote has gone on the poll so far, with 88% picking Brisbane to win this game. Tell you what, could still be in for a good final quarter. The Lions might just take the foot off the pedal, and the Saints might snare a few back and close the gap up a little bit. We hope so, because we want to see a nice tight finish, even though the margin is out to 38 points. Let's just duck over there and have a little bit of a look at the goal scorers so far. Of course, we've got 3 goal scorers leading the way. Lachie Neale, he snagged 3, Lachie Neale. He's loving it. Big smile after he kicked his goals. Eric Hipwood, no goals in that third term. He's got 3 for the Brisbane Lions. Of course, Logan Morris, Zach Bailey, 2 each for the Lions. And Oscar McInerney, the big man, he got 1 with Sam Day. Of course, for the Saints, Jackie Higgins, I tell you, he's pretty dangerous when he actually gets the ball. 3 kicks for Jack Higgins off his 7 disposals. 3 straight goals. Mason Wood, Wangani Millera, Rowan Marshall, Maxie Hall are the other singles for St Kilda. Let's have a look who's top on the table on the disposal count. And, of course, Dane Zorko. He's having a ripper game. I tell you what, the older statesman of the Lions, they're really coming to the fore today. Dane Zorko up there with 26, 20 handballs, 20 mark kicks, I should say, 6 handballs, 7 marks, 2 tackles, 2 clearances. He's having a ripper game. Will Ashcroft, next best there for the Lions on 25. Of course, Wangani Millera and Jack Sinclair, both tops of the table there for St Kilda in the disposal count on 24. Lachie Neale, as I said, he's having a good game there today. 21 touches, 13 kicks, 3 clearances. He's kicked 3. As I said, he's loving his football out there at the moment, is Lachie Neale. Let's just roll on down, because we'll be back in a moment with the commentators to take us into the bounce of the ball for the final quarter. Levi Ashcroft on 14. Cam Rayner, after his whirlwind start in the opening quarter, he's been super quiet in the second and third term. Can we expect something out of him in the final term? Of course, Oscar McInerney's going well, the big man for Brisbane Lions, with his 11 disposals, 9 kicks, 2 handballs, 4 clearances, 19 hitouts, 1 goal, 1. There we go. All right, let's just roll on. Charlie Cameron, another quiet game from him from the Lions. Jack Higgins there, as I said, 7 disposals, 3 kicks, 1 clearance, 3 goals. There we go. And Logan Morris got subbed off for Brisbane when he copped that super hit in the shoulder. Looks like he's pulled up a little bit sore there. All right, let's just roll this back up. All right, folks, we're going to take you back down to the ground. We're only 1 minute away from the bounce of the ball from the final quarter here at Marvel Stadium. I just want to let folks know the next game coming up today, folks, after this, if you're interested in listening to, is, of course, Port Adelaide taking on North Melbourne. That comes up at 4:15 at the Adelaide Oval. And then the game after that should be an absolute cracking game. The GWS Giants taking on the Western Bulldogs up there at Manuka Oval in Canberra. That also should be a fantastic game. All right, let's get back down to the ground for the final quarter. It's the Lions by 38 points.
And Day goes to an easy goal. So that, in a nutshell, is the clearance game for the Brisbane Lions. But Lockie Neal on fire, and they're pretty dominant here right now at Marvel Stadium.
Just the second time in Brisbane Lions colours. He's kicked 3 goals in a game, Brownie. I know he's been able to hit the scoreboard more in recent times, but once again, he just continues to be a marvel.
Yeah, he's an absolute beauty. Yeah, he bounced back. They're disappointed the Lions wins after last week's performance against Collingwood. Fantastic. That is the Thursday game of the Pies. Zach Bailey is another one that's really dangerous. So lights up. He got a free kick, probably a fortuitous free kick late in that third quarter, kicks the goal. But he's had a fantastic day. Zach Bailey, 19 disposals, the 2 goals too. 9 of those are contested possessions. So last year, some inconsistencies, especially the first half of the year. But he's had a pretty good season. Going to the bench now, so hopefully physically he's okay.
Big third quarter for Will Ashcroft as well. Dicko talked about Lockie Neal wrapping around the back. It was Will Ashcroft he gave the ball to, and he was able to thread a beautifully weighted handball over the top into the space.
Yeah, Will Ashcroft has responded for probably the worst game of his short career last week against the Pies, 25 disposals. He's been excellent. It's been a great team performance. St Kilda just haven't really had the answers in this one.
So Sinclair in the centre bounce there. Look at the 2 prime moves off half-back, both starting in the centre bounce there. Wanganeen Nura and Jack Sinclair. Rest of the day at half-forward. Kalarchi's been following him around.
Saints not going to die wondering. They're throwing the magnets around. See if they can just try and give themselves a chance. Brad Hill, it looks like, and Windhager have gone to half-back along with Zach Jones.
Cam Rayner's said, I'll take the goal square for the Lions.
He's had 1 touch since quarter time, dude.
No, starved out of it a bit.
Best player on the ground almost at quarter time.
Yeah.
Here is Windhager playing that near eye. That kick's not going to get it done.
See, that's a kick. He's a wonderful player, that kid, Windhager. You've got to take care with that kick. That's just lazy and careless.
McInerney, great duel against Marshall. All that kick short, not 15. Ashcroft made it look good to Fletcher, and now McCluggage.
Well, McRae has got a handover here and he's let Lockie Neal go. Oh, he aimed him up too.
Well read by Windhager.
Got saved there by Windhager.
Oh, that's another poor kick coming out of defence, and it might be costly because Fletcher finds Hipwood.
Defenders hate that, unless you're the one making the mistake. But not much they can do there. The Lions forwards are lining up, weren't they, when they saw that turnover?
He's looking for McRae, missed him by a fair way.
Actually, really dangerous they started to get the handball game going during that third quarter, St Kilda. So I'm not sure just going to the chip mark game is the best strategy.
Well, you've got to be a beautiful kicking team to do that regularly. And they're not that yet.
For the goal number 4 for Hipwood. Oh, he's hung it out badly to the left.
What the distance is.
Been inaccurate today, Brisbane. 12 goals, 14. They came into this mid-table for accuracy.
Harris Andrews is out this side, so Hilly goes the other.
It's a task for Stocker. Lester was in the box seat. Infringe, umpire let them play. Ainsworth, Hipwood again. Rayner, front and square. That was perfect for McCluggage. He thought he was holding out the ball. Cameron, with a bit of brilliance, still searching for a goal. Kicks his 3rd behind.
Peppering.
As I said, this is the 3rd consecutive week of no goals. Only done it once in his whole career. Gone 3 weeks without a goal. He might get one late. Wilkie continues to run. Collard leaves it for Sharman. It was the right decision. Good mark against a good opponent. Caminiti offers a lead into the pocket. It took a long time to go there. Gardner could have taken the mark. He lost his footing. And Caminiti.
That's a good look at those feet. I don't know how he loses his feet. He's got huge feet. Big feet on Caminiti, aren't they? What you got some inside info on that?
He does have big feet.
Yeah, they look like 13s or 14s.
Yep. Massive quads. It's a big unit.
Yeah.
Levi Ashcroft. Good clearing ball. Rice got hands to it. Hill stayed down. Webster on his favoured left. Decides to give it to Jones. And his kick misses the mark. So they've just been sloppy by foot to start this quarter, St Kilda. And Brisbane might punish them. Levi Ashcroft, great kick to Dunkley. Again, just continuing his rock-solid form. Been exceptional. Charlie Cameron sees grass, tucks it under the arm, 2 bounces. Unselfishly tries to kick it to Archie. It'll get to the back for Berry, who's got all the time in the world to steady, straighten and poke it to hit.
A good decision, yeah. Always going to... Just a matter of just taking their time and making the right decision, wasn't it? I wasn't sure about Rainey's kick across, but it did open the forward 50 up. He's been good on the opposite foot. He kicked 2 in the first half on his opposite leg.
Zach Jones kick inside 50. It's a tiny little dab pass and he misses. And it goes to the length of the field.
He's going to go with his right again. Already kicked 2 on the right. I can confidently say, Jono, he's never kicked 3 on his right in one game. But 3 of his 4 today have been right foot snaps. He's been very good.
It's a great call, Joey. I thought his right was balance only, but he showed that it's a weapon.
This was really interesting. There was an Olympic start here. So this is the lead up to it where the ball finds its way to him. Stocker gets lost a little bit here, but when it ends up with him, on the snap, Rowan Marshall gets down into the starters blocks. He actually kneels on the ground, 2 hands out in front like he's in the starters blocks trying to stop this, and he almost gets there.
Watching the Storm gift last week.
10 score involvements now for Eric Hipwood as well. 4 goals, 2. He set a couple up.
See Cal Wilkie when he took the mark on his chest then? Started screaming at other defenders because that goes against him.
And also advantage to Brisbane Lions too, so just to keep in mind that the Saints are down to 3 on their interchange.
Hugo Garcia was subbed out before half-time and Mason Wood out with concussion. Kyle Lohman eventually succumbed to a shoulder injury for the Brisbane Lions. Wilmot. Kick to Archie. Wilkie tried to leave Hipwood. He went a long way. He wasn't needed in the end. Advantage will be paid. Megan and Miller up. So he did respond after a scratchy first half, an excellent third quarter to Sinclair. It'll be Steele who run on, driving into the pocket. Harris Andrews had his name written all over that. Fletcher, Wilmot. Chain of handballs. This game looks like it's going to start to open up for Brisbane. Will Ashcroft to his brother. Rayner's worked hard. Bailey's in space as well. They both get involved. And now Logan Morris is standing at the top of the square, all on his own. Instead, they try and go short, and it won't come off. They miss the trick, and it feels like the energy's just been sapped out of this one at the moment. Owens finds Jones. He'll keep running. Now they've got the overlap. Keeler, hardly been sighted today. Just his second disposal. Sees Higgins out the back, who unselfishly blocks and allows Keeler to get his first for the day.
Nice to get on the board, John. As Joey said, feels like the energy's been sucked out of this one. It looks like that from a Brisbane point of view, defensively there. It was just far too easy for St Kilda. They made the right decisions coming through.
Once this gets marked, it's fairly pedestrian thereafter for a goal, but you take everything they leave on the floor. They've given you a little opportunity there to get a goal. Take it.
Interesting point raised about Hugo Garcia going off. Do you think we'll ever see a day where a tactical sub has been made and a legitimate head injury assessment has put a second player out where the tactically subbed out player is allowed back in if it's doctor approved?
Yeah, you know, it's a fair point.
We keep changing the rules to allow
the
for
forefront of everyone's mind, Derm, and obviously player safety, and certainly consideration for the AFL. It's not the silliest suggestion you've ever made, Derm.
It's coming a distant blast at the moment.
Brisbane centre clearance again. Another opportunity for a score. Archie, game 150. It won't be a goal, but Bailey will sit under it. So did Wilkie. And Cal again takes that one out of bounds. Stocker just was a little cheek elbow to Eric Hipwood, who was caught by surprise. Ross Lyon on screen there, Derm. What would he be thinking with this performance today?
He'd be looking at it saying, we've had our moments. There are moments where I've liked what I've seen, but by and large, we've been beaten by a team who are a lot more progressed, a lot further in their journey than we are.
Will Ashcroft, hands. Neil, thought about number 4, Rayner. Stand under it again.
He's had 2 weeks in a row now in quarters. They've been absolutely smashed territory-wise. So first quarter day, 24-6 inside 50 count. I think there was one last week where they might have only had one inside 50 for the whole quarter. Or certainly low single figures. So you just can't compete against good teams. You can't get territory.
Bailey, this time, standing start, outside of the boot, all class, kicked his third.
Yeah, he's had a good day. Could have had a bigger day, could have had a real bag full Derm, but he's dynamic. He's the most dangerous forward 50 player. They do set up for him to come through on the move there. That one is actually stationary, but just see, had a close watch of him. Stocker has actually had a pretty good day, but had to commit to the secondary tackle.
He's had 5 shots at goal, Zach Bailey.
He's had a really good season, hasn't he?
He has. He's been one of the better players, more consistent players, certainly.
10 seconds.
By far his best season, Zach Bailey so far in game 147 today. He and Cam Rayner are due to play their 150th in round 10 against Melbourne at the MCG. Take a look at Brisbane's next month. They do have a Q clash next week at the Gabba, which will be probably the best Q clash on record. And then they go down to Tassie to face North Melbourne. As we said, Melbourne in round 10 and then Hawthorn at the MCG. They've been able to bounce back today after a rare disappointing performance last week against the Pies. The review being good. Rayner, Archie couldn't quite take the mark. There's the 2 subs going at it, Tunstall and Zach Jones.
Good figure.
It was Tunstall at one, but Zach Jones didn't give up on it. But just enough, back to Tunstall. Going for a third time.
Big alarm bells for St Kilda Ross Lyon. This is the 3rd week in a row that in the second half they've just dropped away and opposition teams have helped themselves to goals. So big concerns there.
Inside 50 numbers 60 to 32 in favour of Brisbane. They're almost 20 up in clearances. Makes it really hard to win any game of footy.
What was the question coming this season, though? Their midfield stocks in class in around there. They're trying to build that out.
Caminiti was moved forward earlier in the game and reshuffled their side once the game was getting out of hands. Higgins, Sinclair trying to keep it moving forward. Fletcher continuing to impress at half-back. Rayner starting to get busy in his 4th quarter after having a quiet 2nd and 3rd periods. And Bailey being one of the best on grounds. Calls his forwards to come at him. Instead, it's Ainsworth who ran on. And now Berry runs hard from half-back. Kick into the pocket. I feel like they're looking for Archie in game 150. Morris does the crumbing. Stocker, the kick was poor. That's been the story of this 4th quarter for the Saints, and it'll be Berry who'll line up for another one.
He's had a pretty good day again. Jared Berry out there on the wing, very disciplined, holds his structure well. He's strong in the air, gets back to support his defenders, but can float forward as well to help lock out those exits. He is since halfway through last year when he really locked in on that wing roll. He was fantastic on that run to the premiership term. He's been able to continue on that good form.
He's quite versatile, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big boy too.
Yeah, absolutely. He can put out the fire of an opposition big midfielder.
He's always been a pretty good set shot for goal, has Jared Berry. And they bring up the triple figures.
So since half-time, the Saints have banged on 5 goals, 1, which is great, but it's up against 7 goals, 7. So 2 goals more, but with the extra shots a goal, 14 shots to 6. Yeah, they've done what they wanted. Apart from that brief little period out of, when they got satellite, the Saints in the third quarter. It's a mature team, though. This is a mature team. It's the reigning premier.
Frustration there for the St Kilda fans. What I've liked, once they're trying stuff in the midfield, Joey, they'll flip the magnets around there, so when that Miller goes in there after quarter time, I think I was Sinclair's done some shot bounces. After was it, Mitch Jones has gone in there. They've tried to change that. Nick Zach Jones, so it gave him a lift when he came on as a sub late in that second quarter.
And the scoreboard now starting to reflect the dominance of this performance by the Brisbane Lions. Saints with a chain of handballs. That's going to knock the 15. Collard was looking for Higgins.
And Chris Fagan just down here at boundary line. So Josh Dunkley, Darcy Gardner, he just went over. He said, let's keep the foot down. Let's put them away. So obviously there's a little bit of blood in the water.
Zorko.
He got a good hit on that.
It's out of mid-air, but I think that might be insufficient intent.
Imagine so.
Sounds silly to go, but if you've got a team down the ropes, the percentage becomes important. Even though it's early in the season, you've got to push through all the way to the finish line.
He'll be off.
Hill kicking into the pocket. Wilmot again. He's been consistent from start to finish in this one. Oh, the kick hung up for Morris. He takes the mark. Zorko is the one that was running hard. Well read by Wilkie. They've got the opportunity to use their handball game. Bringing in Miller up. Not 15. McRae from a standing start. Shakes it right.
Just to push on that percentage. So Brisbane's lowest, they're the lowest team in the top 8. Only 105%. Compare that against Collingwood, 140. Gold Coast Suns, 150. It's a fair difference there, isn't it? They can come into play. So that's why it's important to finish these games when you've got a team down. I think that's why Chris Fagan will be pushing.
Well, we know that you can feel because of the evenness of the competition.
Yeah, that's right.
Spots 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 will probably come down to percentage.
Hands from Leicester. Tunstall, good kick for Cameron.
They've got extra numbers back here, the Saints, but they're just picking their way through it here. The Lions.
Hands up everywhere from Brisbane players. They're all calling for it. And in the end, he chose Lockie Neal. Owens tried to get there, but
had to get a touch on the ball first and didn't.
This might be too far for Lockie Neal.
Well, he kicked a beautiful one close to this range in the third quarter.
He only kicked 4 goals in a game once in his career.
Wait, mate, the goal square.
He pulled the kick.
What a kick.
That was a set play.
Absolutely was. Yeah, Huey just dropped in there nicely.
When you see him take off like that to the middle, he's the kind of player you know wants to tug it back across the line, take it off the line to the forward pocket side, which he's looking away from. I reckon those two have played enough footy together now that he was exactly on the same page.
With you there, Dirk. These two were waxing beautifully. McCluggage hasn't been his biggest night stuff in the stat sheet, but his pressure has been enormous, and he gets some reward with his first for the night.
So it's a good win for them. I mean, the Saints aren't going to be, you know, challenging for a top 4 position or anything like that, but you've got to play footy. St Kilda have proved it this year, apart from last week where they were really down. They've proved that you've got to play reasonably good footy to knock them over, and they've done them comprehensively here today. So it's a good hit out for the Lions. Giving them a bit of a sharpen up, giving them a little bit of a percentage boost, and they're 110 points plus.
Yeah, definitely. They've been sharpening up during the week. No question about that. I think Chris Fagan we wouldn't have put the players on notice. But we just got back to say, boys, we want to contend at the end of the year. We're going to fix up parts of our game. It starts with the midfield, and then midfield's application of the defensive side of things and putting pressure on the opposition, win the contest, which you've done today in spades.
For the first time under Ross Lyon's tenure, back at St Kilda, if they conceded 100 points 3 weeks in a row. So defensively, they are leaking as well. As Sharman gets it to Caminiti, who just sneaks it home.
Good on Marshall.
Centre-bounce goal, so it's a second centre-bounce goal. Brisbane kick forward. Something they just weren't able to get in the first half, especially the first quarter, just weren't able to get those centre-bounce wins.
He was beautifully balanced there, Wanganeen Malira. Watch him go to ground. Marshall in the ruck. Slips to ground here and doesn't lose the soles of his feet on the ground. Marshall keeps urging forward and gets the kick that puts it inside 50.
Good tap by Owens too.
So Caminiti with his first goal of the season. He's played as a defender all year. With the return of Dougal Howard, though, today they swung him forward. Hasn't had much of an impact, but able to hit the scoreboard. Dunkley, another clearance. McCluggage and Neal. Their mids have all been sensational this afternoon. Good speed from Wilson to blow by Charlie Cameron. You can see too many players do that. And then cutting board, pull the kick for Collard. Dunkley again, Wilmot. Zorko. Just toying with him now. To Levi Ashcroft, and Wilmot back to Ainsworth. And Zorko will pick up disposal number 30. Kick a low flat ball. Oh, going exceptionally early and high was Dougal Howard. Well, that's going to be illegal. That was an unrealistic attempt, said the umpire.
He touched it.
Take a look at this one on replay. And this might be the opportunity for Archie to get the goal in his milestone game. Here's the replay at the bottom of the screen. You can see why the umpire paid that.
Yeah, did Archie run himself under the footy without any contact though?
It's the goal they've been trying to get him all day. And Callum Archie, the premiership player in game 150, gets a moment that he will always remember.
He has a lot of respect within the Brisbane Lions playing group. Came across the Gold Coast Suns from the Suns a few years ago. Well and truly established himself. Got a kiss there for Lockie now. Well and truly established himself in the senior side in the second half of the year.
Little half lead there.
He's good in the
it's a free kick. Yeah.
But he can also play an important defensive forward role. And today's role has been on Jack Sinclair. Sinclair still had decent numbers, but they've got that capability, Brisbane. They can pull that lead when they need to against a really dangerous opposition defender. Well done. Great to see him get there.
Dougal and that ball weren't even in the same postcode.
Did he get touched, Diggo?
Oh, you're kidding, Dermot.
No, I'm asking the question.
No, not
that last view we had, it just exited screen.
Cal Archie, the 27-year-old, enjoyed a nice afternoon with his teammates here at Marvel. They're going to make it 11 of their last 13 at this stadium. Average winning margin has been 32 points a game. They'll continue to blow out. They're going to win their 7th consecutive game against the Saints. So
one thing's for sure, Lee, if it goes 120 plus, that's a monster score. That's a big, big score in this era.
It's around the Ross Lyon coach team.
Yeah.
It's a 57-point margin. McInerney, a little bit of party time over the shoulder from McCluggage. Archie's popped into space. Hill did well, did really well.
It wasn't the most terrifying sight running into Brad Hill, was it?
And that's the concerning thing for the Saints, is that used to be Ross's greatest strength, is negating sides and scores. So if they're leaking this, especially over the last 3 weeks, that's not good.
Hall sees Higgins out the back. Zorko's going to try hard to get there. He did it really well, in fact, Zorko. It still might not matter. There's Darcy Wilson snaps around the body and kicks another one for the Saints.
Well, you've got a bit to work on, Ross. They have had a tough draw this season. So if you compare them with, say, the Gold Coast Suns are flying at under 50% on the ladder and lost the game, have they? Or lost one game. They've had a pretty easy run. St Kilda's played all the top teams. So it's challenging when you are trying to develop your team and coming up against good sides week after week.
Another blow to the Saints too. Lance Collard's just gone down in the dugout with the doctor. So injury concern here, and we know they're already down to 3 on the bench.
He had a chase down tackle in the middle of the ground, which he came up a little sore from. Gee, did well that Zorko, didn't he? To try and spoil that without giving a free kick away. Well, capped off in the end by the Saints. Lovely gather.
Wangan and Miller, plenty of opportunities in inside mid today. Something they can persist with, do you think, Wangan and Miller? Again, delivering a ball. Beautiful to Sharman. Can they keep him scoring it?
Yes, but I'm not putting him in for the first bounce. I reckon you want to find the flow of the game. I mean, you know what the first bounces are like.
But don't they need that class in there, though?
Yeah, but I reckon you just let a little bit of the bulls going at each other and taking a bit of steam out of each other physically. I mean, you'd hate to see him run into, a Cam Rain or someone like that early on and you're losing for the game.
Cooper Sharman failed to kick a goal last week against the Bulldogs, but he gets his first today. Saints getting some consolation goals late.
I think I've seen enough. After half-time, Wangan and Miller starting in the centre bounce. Get him in there. Callous him up, dude. Callous him up, and get some class in there. So, look, he can clearly read the tab. He can read the ruckman's hand, no doubt about it, and then he's got the vision and the presence to be able to work his way out of those tight situations at the centre bounce. Centre bounce has become so important these days with the 666. Get your class in there.
It's a great point. I'd be worried about losing him, though, to physical contact. It is hefty in there, more so than just about ever underneath, because the ruckmen don't get a clean hit now. They come together and engage.
4 centre bounce clearances this half. Wangan and Miller, he's not in there for this one, so the Brisbane Lions will win it. Ashcroft and Neal. How often do you call that combination one after the other? Wilmot.
That's 50.
Off his game, short to Zorko.
Zorko's just had another 32, coming up for 33.
Did he not mark it? That's why. Didn't give him 50.
Up to Wilmot. Now Neal. Inside 50, Rayner flew. Still going on that outer wing for most of the game, coming on as the sub. Hill. Just held it up and drew the man to get it to Sharman, who tried to go on the left and really get it going. Andrews just patrolling that back line. Ball David, St Kilda win it back. Ball. They set up a couple this time. Decides to go home. He had players everywhere in front of him.
Give it to Jack in front.
And he'll let him know about it.
He will, he did.
You're not happy down here, Chris Fagan. He wants him to finish it off.
Darcy Wilmot, career high 29 disposals for him today, so one of his best performances. 3 intercept marks. There he is again, make it 30 disposals.
Oh, that's a throw. Higo normally would just say, I'll take that, but he knows he's too far out. He's a better chance of kicking a goal if he goes closer to goal. And the kick drops short. he's always thinking a step ahead.
Rowan thinks he's Malcolm Blight. He's $1 million to 1.
Have the tired legs, Big Row Marshall. He's worked hard. It's been a good battle. He's had just the 16 disposals. He kicked the goal earlier. 4 clearances. Always tough going against Big O. He does the right thing. There's a selfless thing to the top of the square. Brisbane again will get themselves towards the wing. Burns. Hill. He's had 30 disposed himself to McRae. Just too far out for him. He loves to hit a little short one. Owens offers a half-hearted lead. And McRae will go to the hot spot. Zorko again just hacks it back out. This is what Brisbane were doing for the whole first quarter. Just getting repeat entries and building the pressure. And now they're out here. It's 3v1. This should end up in a goal. This might be the moment Charlie Cameron's been waiting for. It's been a long time since he's found the big sticks to finally get one. No! He's missed again. That is 4 behinds for Charlie Cameron. And it's looking like for the 3rd consecutive week he'll go goalless.
Overcorrected, Derby. Went right that time.
Actually went straight.
I should have tried to outspread him, I reckon. Could have been in that spread.
Oh, you might get a chance here. Another one.
Although Zach Bailey's sensing the chance and he's hit the belly of the ball.
Just a little confidence, isn't he, at the moment, Charlie Cameron? There's that 9 score involvement zone. So you've got to take the positives away from this game. That's what Chris Fagan will be looking at. He's had opportunities.
Tick inside the final 2 minutes here. This one just playing out. Saints have kicked a few late. And Sharman gets up and full stretch, takes the mark and tried to do the unselfish thing. Well done from Oscar McInerney. Getting back by a good big man and then hands go on the hips. He's exhausted.
Just a good effort defensively in Oscar McInerney. So he's had 6 tackles himself, the big boy. To go with Dunkley, who's had 9 tackles, and McCluggage had 11 tackles. Now, that's coming from a team that only had 27 as a team last week, so they need to lead the charge.
Wilson's kick goes wide.
So I think that's what Chris Fagan will be happiest about. Yes, they haven't been as efficient in front of goal, but I think they built their game off the back of defence.
St Kilda's next month. They back up again Friday night here at Marvel against Fremantle after their big win last night. Carlton, the MCG, the West Coast Eagles at Optus, and then the Gold Coast Suns at Marvel. Maybe Charlie will get one last chance.
All around.
Lovely ball control by Will Ashcroft again.
King of talk.
Might be the way to break the drought, you reckon, Dicko? Just sitting up and drop punches.
Bring the barrel out.
Let one fly. He's kicked 4 behinds today.
Really out to him, Dicko.
He's taking a couple of steps back. How's he holding it? Drop punt.
Charlie Cameron has hit that as inside out as you'll see. And that'll play out now. The Brisbane Lions. It was a dominant first quarter that showed their intent. They were always going to respond like the great side they are. And they put St Kilda to the sword. They dominated and won by 45 points. Big winners at Marvel Stadium. It was 66 entries to 43. They set the game up in that first quarter. The Saints had a little 15-minute period there, Durham in the third, but really Brisbane controlled this from the outset, and 45 points was probably the minimum.
Yeah, it's the reigning premier who flex their muscles when needed. They've still got some upside in them too. That wasn't their best performance, but it is what the coach asked for in terms of response after last week. As you say, 66 is a big number of inside 50s. It shows the dominance and control they had over the footy for the majority of the game.
Yeah, the response was fantastic. So the pressure around the ball was outstanding. 24-6 inside 50 count that first quarter. So you can tell their attitude was there. They looked like they lacked energy last week. Their energy was back today, Joey. No question about that.
Yeah, the 9-day break for Brisbane did them the world of good. Saints backing up on a 6-day break. Thoughts with poor Kai Lyman, hopefully nothing too serious, but for the third game this season, the only 3 games he's played, he's been subbed out.
He ran into the wrong man, didn't he?
Yeah, it was Liam Stock up. And fair, we think fair.
Yeah, it's
hit
fair.
the shoulder. And Ben Dixon is down with the man who could have kicked goal of the year, Dicko, but he was still brilliant today.
Well, why don't we start with that, Joey? Goal of the year, you completely slaughtered it. Built it up, had the bounce. Talk us through it.
I think I just got ahead of myself. I got past the two people and I had all this adrenaline running through me and I didn't know what I was doing with it. And I just felt on the boot and missed. So, yeah, I probably should have hit that one.
We chatted to Fags before the game. We said, did you give him a spray during the week? You always straight batch it when we asked that, but wasn't your best effort? Your first loss last week. What was his instructions coming into this one?
For us, it was just getting back to our pressure game. Last week, we probably lowered our colours a little bit there and missed a lot of tackles. And this week, I think, coming up against the Saints, we really improved on that. We tackled really well tonight and our pressure was immense. So, yeah, really good effort tonight.
And the clearance game, on high alert with the Saints in terms of the way they go about it. But that is one feature of the Brisbane game that is completely flying at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Last week the last 2 weeks, we haven't been too great in that area, but that was a big focus for us coming into this game. And, glad we were able to respond this week.
What about Charlie Cameron? Because he's down on form and he's had multiple shots on goal tonight, didn't get his goal, and he's kicked an inside-out torp here. He couldn't get it through the big sticks, but it's not through lack of trying for Charlie, is it?
No, I think Charlie's role's changed a little bit. We don't need him to go and kick 50 or 60 goals in a season. We just need him to play his role and be selfless, and he's been able to adapt, and he's doing that for us this year and bring a lot of pressure, so that's all we can ask for him.
What do you think of Dane Zorko's game tonight?
Zorko's, pretty bad to be honest. How many kicks did he butcher tonight?
He reckons. Zach, well done. I'm going to bring him in now because you get no response after that. What about? I'm going to ask you now because I asked him. He just slaughtered goal of the year, didn't he?
He did. When he missed, I thought, oh my God, he's just lost it. So, that was pretty impressive. He's having a fantastic start of the year, he really is. He's definitely in the conversation, one of the best small forwards, and we saw it again tonight, this afternoon.
Well, the radar wasn't on in terms of in front of goal, but it wasn't through lack of trying and obviously your entries. But what was the adjustment at half-time? Because you had a 34-point lead going into half-time, but you knew you had them where you wanted them.
Yeah, absolutely. We focused a lot during the week of getting back to defending really well, and I thought we did that up until half-time, and floodgates opened a little bit there, but what we've been working on was stopping that momentum, and I thought we did that and owned the ball again, and had some really good front half turnovers, which obviously helps us get set up. So, yeah, really pleasing that I think we put a fourth-quarter performance today for the first time this year. Radar was off, but we're still getting the opportunities, which is great.
And life after Joe in the front half, it's a nice look though, isn't it? We were wondering how it was going to function, and Eric Hipwood and your Smalls, but it's getting the job done.
Yeah, it is. Eric was fantastic again this afternoon. Sam Day was fantastic as well. I mean, we know Joe, he's going to do those freakish things, but Sam's really reliable. We know what he's going to bring as well, and we're playing to those strengths. So it was great to see Eric and Daisy work so well, and obviously, Charlie, Carl, Cam, Bales, they all hit the scoreboard again, which was great.
Bounce back, Zorks. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Cheers, Diggo.
Yeah, Dane Zorko there again, 34 disposals, and Brownie, it sets up a cracking Q clash. Is it going to be the best Q clash probably we've seen next week?
Well, apart from the first one, which the Suns created a massive upset, but no, it's going to be huge, and it's actually a night before a public holiday up in Queensland, so big crowd there expected. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, and they are back in form. Final words, Derm, on Brisbane?
Yeah, Brisbane, they're the reigning premier. They flexed their muscles when they needed to, went to a different level.
They certainly did. They were big winners here at Marvel Stadium. They beat St Kilda by 45 points at Marvel Stadium, but they go anywhere. Super Saturday continues right after this.
All right, folks, there we go. The Brisbane Lions did it. 45-point winners over Saints. Tell you what, they're back in form, the Brisbane Lions. A lot of happy supporters out there. And, of course, we had the poll today. 87% voted correctly in that way. They voted for the Brisbane Lions. Well done to everyone out there. Congratulations to the Lions. Commiserations to the Saints. Good to see the Saints did put on 4 goals, 2 in that final term. But 5 goals, 3 to the Lions. Just before we wrap up this one, because we've got the next game coming up straight after this, folks, which is Port Adelaide, North Melbourne over there and Adelaide Oval. Let's just wrap up with some of the stats. Leading goal scorer out on the ground, Eric Hipwood there with 4 for the Lions. 4 goals, 2. Great performance from him. Lachie Neale, a barnstorming game. He had 3 goals. Zach Bailey, 3 also for the Lions. 2 goals for Logan Morris, and of course singles to Oscar McInerney, Hugh McCluggage, Sam Day and Jared Berry, and Callum Archie. A lot of players chipping in there with the goals for the Lions, of course. For the Saints, Jack Higgins topped the table with 3, and then just singles to Mason Wood, Darcy Wilson, Wanganeen Miller, Rowan Marshall, Isaac Keeler, Maxi Hall, and Caminiti got the goal single for the Saints. The leading disposal get on the ground. Well, Will Ashcroft came out of the clouds, 35. He had 16 kicks, 19 handballs. He had 4 clearances. Fantastic effort. Dane Zorko, great all day with 34. The best for the Saints was Bradley Hill on 33 and Wanganeen Miller on 32. Lockie Neal, fantastic game from him, of course, 31 touches, 16 kicks, 5 clearances, 3 goals. Can't ask much more than that from the champ, that is for sure. Zach Bailey, also pretty good out there with 24 touches, 3 goals for the Lions. All right, let's just roll on down a little bit. Jack Sinclair wasn't too bad. And, of course, Jack Steele from the Saints, both with 29. Cam Rayner, after an opening fantastic first quarter, he was quiet in the last 3 quarters. He just ended up with 19, but still pretty good effort from him. Oscar McInerney, the big ruckman, 14 touches, 1 goal, 25 hit-outs, 5 clearances. Well done to the ruckman there. Excellent effort there. Zach Jones came in, had a great impact on the game for St Kilda. He was good. He had 18 touches. I like the way he played. And then we just roll down the rest of the stats. Of course, Jack Higgins there, just with the 3 goals for the Saints, with the 3 kicks, 8 disposals. That is your stats. Player stats, folks. Actually, while I'm there, let me just quickly run down the team stats. There we go. Not much in the disposals overall. 22 plus to the Lions. 44 inside 50s for the Saints. 66 inside 50s for the Lions. So, yeah, plus 23. It's a fair margin there. Free kicks wasn't too badly for either side. 15 to 19, although I did think the Lions got the better of the free kicks in some certain situations there. Which gave them a couple of extra goals, but really didn't make much of an impact. Hit-outs, St Kilda ended up winning the hit-outs, but it was the Lions in the clearances in all departments, clearances, centre clearances and stoppage clearances. Contested possessions, not much in that, nor were the uncontested turnovers, all square at 59 apiece. Marking department, Brisbane Lions a bit better in that way today, 18 marks better. But the marks inside 50 certainly tell the tale, don't they? 18 inside 50 marks to Brisbane. Fantastic effort there. Only the 7 to St Kilda. That's something that they're going to have to look at and try and, get their forwards to just create a little bit more space. So, that being said, the Brisbane Lions, they put immense pressure on the Saints there today. It was a good pressure all the way around, actually, from both sides. But the Lions certainly came out with the eye of the lion, not the eye of the tiger, the eye of the lion today, especially after dropping the last couple of games. They wanted to make a statement today that they're back in town, that they just hit a road bump over the last couple of weeks. And it was good to see the Lions back strong where they will be. Just checking on the ladder. Let me just reload that and you'll be able to check the percentage. There we go. So after looking at the ladder now, of course, Brisbane Lions up into second position. Equal on points with Collingwood on top of the ladder, both with 24, played 7, 6 wins, 1 loss for the Brisbane Lions, 112.7, so they're still a fair way off on percentage, but the only way to boost that is continue to keep on winning. But the main thing is you keep winning your games. They are now 2 games clear of the Gold Coast Suns, Giants, and a few other teams all battling it out for positions in the top 8. And, of course, St Kilda, they sit down there in 12th position now after playing 7, 3 wins, 4 losses, 85% on the percentage there. So, they've got a tough road ahead, have the Saints, but nothing's impossible. It's still early in the season. It's only a third of the way through the season so far. But so far, the Lions looking pretty good. Hey, Mark, how you going? Pies on top. You better believe the Pies are on top. They were pretty good yesterday, the Pies. Make no mistake about that. But I tell you what, Essendon challenged them strong, and the good thing about it is the Pies responded well. So good to see the Magpies on top of the ladder there. But yeah, we have the next game coming up after this, folks, of course, is Port Adelaide and North Melbourne. Let me just get a look and see who these two teams are going to be playing next week. Of course, St Kilda next Friday night, they take on Fremantle at Marvel Stadium. So I tell you what, that's going to be a fantastic game because Fremantle are in some pretty red hot form at the moment. St Kilda will be definitely looking to bounce back after this defeat on their home ground again. So that could be an interesting game. That is definitely a game that St Kilda will think they can probably win. And of course, next week, I tell you what, next Sunday, folks, next Sunday, tell you what, if you're a Brisbane supporter, this is going to be an absolute ring-a-ding-ding game. This is going to be an absolute cracker next Sunday, 7:20 p.m. Melbourne time. Brisbane Lions, they've got a home game up there at the Gabba. They're taking on the Gold Coast Suns. That should be an absolute ripping game because as we see on the ladder, the Gold Coast Suns sitting in third. If they happen to win today or tomorrow, I think they play tomorrow. I tell you what, they'll be on 20. Then they'll be playing the Brisbane Lions for possibly second position on the ladder. So that will be a really interesting match next week for the Brisbane Lions. One that Brisbane probably will expect to win, but one they don't want to let their guard down because Gold Coast Suns are travelling really well. That'll be the duel of the Queensland teams up there next week. Should be a big game, the Derby up there, or I'm not sure what they call. I know the Derby is over in Adelaide. I'm not sure what they call the Queensland Battle. We'll certainly see that next week, but that should be an absolute ripper. And of course, St Kilda and the Dockers next week should be a fantastic game as well, folks. Freo need to show they're good away. That's exactly it. Freo, you know, they play pretty good at home, but they were compounding in the late in the games, but they certainly got that back to they're holding that firm. But that's always the trouble with the interstate sides. They've got to learn how to play away from home when they travel, and especially when they come to Melbourne. Because if you can't play the MCG or down in Melbourne well, you haven't got much hope because that's where the grand finals played on the biggest stage of them all at the MCG. And the greatest stadium, of course, in Australia. Of course, folks, if you haven't experienced being at the footy with 80,000 crowd at the MCG, it's something I definitely recommend you get out and do because the atmosphere there is incredible, especially if you are there watching some of the top teams there. The crowds always get pretty busy there and full, just like yesterday. I think they had 92,000 there at the MCG. It was an absolute cracking game. Of course, a bit of the wet weather and all that. The crowd was alive. Anzac Day, it was a fantastic game there yesterday. It's a little bit different than games at Marvel Stadium, as we all know it. But, it's a different kettle of fish. Anyway, folks, thanks, Mark, for coming in. Does the Bulldogs play yet? Let me just double-check that. No, the Bulldogs play tonight. The Bulldogs play tonight, 7:35 p.m. Melbourne time. The Bulldogs are playing the GWS Giants in Manuka Oval up there in Canberra. That's going to be a fascinating game. I tell you what, they have a fantastic rivalry, the Giants and the Bulldogs. That should be a ripping game. So that's coming up tonight, Mark, 7:35 p.m. Melbourne time, a little over 3 hours' time. That comes up straight after Port Adelaide North Melbourne game. So, yeah, stay tuned for that one. We'll certainly be covering that game. It should be a ripper. That's definitely a game I don't want to miss. No worries. All right, folks, that's all I've got for this one. I've got to get set up because the Port Adelaide North Melbourne game is already underway over there, and I'll be going live in about 5 minutes so you can listen in on the coverage to that game over there. As I said, it should be an absolute ring-a-ding-ding. At the moment, they're 5 minutes into the first quarter over in the other game, Port Adelaide North Melbourne, and it's Port Adelaide, 1 straight goal, 6 leading North Melbourne, 1 behind 1. All right, folks, Thanks for all tuning in. Well done to everyone in the chat who chose the Brisbane Lions in this game. It was a great game. It was a great game, as I said, a great game full of pressure. We always thought the Lions would probably be a little bit too classy in this game, but you just never know what happened. And St Kilda gave a good yelp in the game, but to no avail. Just the class of the older statesmen of Brisbane. They all came to play and they all played fantastic games today, and that certainly made the difference. All right, folks, I'm over and out for this one. Thanks, everyone, for coming in. We'll see you over at the Port Adelaide North Melbourne. So ciao for now, and we'll see you at that game.